Chapter 407, The Little Prince of Flow City, 1. Dashing young men and pretty babes were all dressed in prim and proper attire as they exchanged conversations with faces full of smiles. Gee, there are so many babes here. As he spoke, Wang Dahai put his arm around Wang Xian's shoulder while he observed the babes around him with glistening eyes. I could work less hard for 20 or 30 years if I married any one of them. Don't you have Su Qian? Why? You want to get another lover? Wang Xian raised his eyebrow as he asked Wang Dahai. Talking about that, you're the fucking awesome one. The two goddesses in our school. Tell me, how did you do it? I'm just having my eye candy now. I don't even look at other women when I'm with Su Qian, said Wang Dahai with envy as he looked at Wang Xian. Here's one finger for you to comprehend. Wang Xian smiled and put up a finger. Taka Kato. Erect 7 times in one night. Wang Dahai stared at him with his wide-opened eyes. This is called continuously. 2. Wang Xian smirked as Wang Dahai pointed his middle finger to him with contempt. Both of them began to evaluate the babes around them again. When guys get together, that is what they do. But Wang Dahai's cousin and a few around them were full of ridicule and contempt when they saw what the duo was doing. Her. Xiao Xiang. When Wang Xian was looking around, he suddenly saw a familiar figure walking in. A boy walked in as he timidly looked at the crowd around him. Apparently, he was not used to such an environment. Xiao Xiang, over here. Wang Xian smiled and reached out his arm, waving to that boy. Upon seeing Wang Xian, Ji Xiang was stunned for a moment before he ran over with a beaming face. Elder brother. Ji Xiang's face was filled with happiness as he ran to Wang Xian. Why are you here alone? Where's your father? Asked Wang Xian while stroking his hair. Ji Xiang was completely back to an ordinary person with a fair-looking skin tone on his face. I told my dad that I wanted to come here alone so that I can be independent. He came here early, but I don't know where he is now. Ji Xiang was a little shy as he spoke. Come, sit over here. Wang Xian smiled as he patted an empty seat beside him. Seeing Wang Dahai's doubtful look, he explained, he's a son of my friend. At this time, Maniac Ji was considered to be a friend, a loyal friend. When the Sacred Followers Guild came to Rivertown for his life, Wang Xian had not informed Maniac Ji. Yet, Maniac Ji rushed to him immediately. At that time, Maniac Ji killed several people from the Sacred Enforcer team. When Maniac Ji came, Wang Xian was astounded. Wang Xian had not asked him to come, but he came because of his promise. His promise had put him in a position that went against a sacred sect. Wang Xian was speechless about that. In his heart, he already took him as his friend, and not someone who owed him a favor. It was his honor to know someone like him in life. Okay, brother. Ji Xiang smiled. I haven't seen you for a while, and you've grown up, said Wang Xian as he looked at Ji Xiang. He chuckled as he replied, thanks to you. Huh. Wang Xian patted him on the shoulder. Her. Another ill-mannered lad? What the? Birds of a feather flocked together. At this time, Wang Xian's cousin and several young men had disdainful expressions on their faces when they saw another young lad walk to Wang Xian and Wang Dahai. The shy-looking juvenile was about 14 or 15. His feeble behavior exhibited a lack of confidence which made it evident that he was not someone from a noble family. Besides, that boy was wearing an ordinary student outfit which was even more amusing. Wang Dahai's cousin felt embarrassed at once as she threw the trio a disdainful glance. Young Master Nan, Young Master Luan, Young Master Feng are here. The top-notch young masters of Flow City are here. At this moment, those young men and babes beside Wang Dahai's cousin were astounded when they saw those people who strolled in. All of them turned to those people with trepidation. Jing Shan, who are they? Asked Wang Dahai's cousin when she saw the aghast look on those people beside her. They're the top-notch young masters of Flow City, the future successors of 3 families which nobody can afford to offend in Flow City. The young man reminded Wang Dahai's cousin with a stern look. Young Master Feng and the rest are walking to us. Just then, all of them witnessed those few young men walking over. The few people beside Wang Dahai's cousin hurriedly stood up and greeted them with radiant smiles. Young Master Feng, Young Master Luan, Young Master Luan. They nodded their heads indifferently as they looked around. After which, they turned their attention to them again. Are there any seats? Yes, yes. Here. The young men beside Wang Dahai's cousin smiled apologetically. Young Master Feng, Young Master Luan, Young Master Nan, you can sit over here. Please take a seat. The three young men went over and sat down without the slightest humility. Apparently, they did not regard these people highly. The three of you go over to the other side and give your seats to us. When the young men beside Wang Dahai's cousins saw Young Master Feng and the rest take their seats, they looked at Wang Xian and Wang Dahai and frowned. Wang Dahai froze for a moment, looking startled. Why should we go? These are our seats. Dahai, get lost now if we asked you to. Stop your whining. Go to another corner with your classmate. Wang Dahai's cousin glowered at him with impatience. Cousin, why should we? Wang Dahai pulled his face, but he stood up eventually and tugged Wang Xian's clothes with a sullen face. Ignore them. Let them find their own seats. Wang Xian glanced at Wang Dahai's cousin and the rest with a touch of contempt on his face. Brat, I asked you to give up your seats, and you should do what I say. Are you unhappy about this? When a young man saw Wang Xian's attitude, he stared daggers at him. Hurry up. Get lost now and stop being so ignorant. When those young men saw Young Master Feng and the rest walking over, they immediately pulled long faces at Wang Xian. The smile disappeared from Wang Xian's face as he swept his gaze across those young men. You really treat this place like your house? You, a country bumpkin. Do you think you are fit to sit here? Go to one corner and stay there. Look at both of you, don't you feel embarrassed about yourselves? A young man stood up, looking over at Wang Xian and casting cold gazes at the trio. These are our seats, said Ji Xiang weakly with slight blush on his cheek. He had confusion in his eyes when he saw the few young men staring daggers at him and Wang Xian with disgust. You, little brat, can jolly well scram to one corner with your bumpkin brother. Look at your attire. How dare you even attend this kind of gathering over here? I don't even know how you guys got in. The young man beside Wang Dahai's cousin sneered as he glared at Ji Xiang. Chapter 408, The Little Prince of Flow City, 2. Old Wang, forget it. Let's not be calculative with them. Wang Dahai looked at his cousin and the group of young men and felt exceptionally embarrassed. He pulled Wang Xian on the arm softly and wanted to leave. Wang Xian raised an eyebrow but didn't say a word. Ha! At this instant, Young Master Feng, Young Master Luan and Young Master Nan, who were sitting to the side, heard the commotion from the direction where Wang Xian was at. They turned around with radiant smiles, waiting to watch the show. Boom! Suddenly, their faces stiffened when they looked across Wang Xian's group and stood up instantly. Little young master. The three of them exchanged glances before taking a second look to verify. They were shocked and surprised. Can you hear us? Bring this little brat along and get out of here. At this moment, a young man's voice reverberated. This made the three of them shiver as their faces sank. Little brat? The three of them looked at the group of young men who were looking down at Wang Xian, Wang Dahai and Ji Xiang. When they heard the group of young men mocking them, their eyelids twitched violently. The three of them forced a faint smile and walked forward immediately. Who's pushing? A young man frowned and chided loudly after feeling a huge force pushing him aside. However, when he saw that it was Young Master Feng and his friends, he immediately swallowed back his words. Young Master Feng, Young Master Luan, Young Master Nan, the group of young men instantly greeted deferentially. However, the three of them didn't pay any attention to the group. The trio forced a smile and walked directly towards Ji Xiang. It was as though they had noticed it wasn't polite for them to look down. Therefore, the three of them squatted. The group of young men behind him looked on in disbelief. They had to be courteous and respectful before young Master Feng, young Master Luan and young Master Nan. Yet, the three of them were currently squatting deferentially before the little boy in the school uniform and greeting him as little young master. Ji Xiang was initially taken aback. However, he showed a smile soon after and said, "Big brother Feng, big brother Luan, big brother Nan. Hee hee. Greetings, little young master. Greetings, little young master." The three of them responded immediately with smiles. From their expressions, one could easily tell that they were both respectful and fearful. Others might not know, but they knew clearly who this little boy in the school uniform was. He's the son of Maniac Ji. The only son. In the entire Flow City, Maniac Ji was the only inborn expert and the de facto ruler. All the families like theirs could only look up in fear. The little boy before them was his only son. In other words, one could also consider him to be the little prince of Flow City. It was just a short time ago that this little young master had appeared before the eyes of the crowd. Young little master was sent to the third year of high school directly. Also, it was said that several classmates bullied him because of the seating arrangement. In the end, Maniac Ji headed to the school the next day after learning about his son being bullied and demanded to meet the parents of these kids. The parents of these kids were arrogant, accusing Maniac Ji of interfering and nagging about matters that should be settled between their kids. They even said that his son deserved to be bullied if his son couldn't do anything about it himself. The outcome was easily predictable. The parents of those kids were killed. There weren't many who knew about this matter. However, as three second-class forces in Flow City, they were well informed about this incident. In the past, Maniac Ji was daring enough to kill a miracle doctor for his son. For now, there was no way he was going to let the people who bullied his son off. Yet, these ignorant and brazen parents were chiding and reprimanding his little prince. "Little young master, is there anyone who is bullying you? If there is, tell us and leave them to us," said the three young men with radiant smiles. Ji Xiang smiled at them and didn't say a word. The three young masters were puzzled to see Wang Xian being so close to this little young master. From it, they deduced that he likely had deep connections with Maniac Ji. "Greetings, big brother." The three young men disregarded Wang Xian's age as they greeted him sincerely. Get the few of them away." Wang Xian nodded his head emotionlessly and responded to the three young men. "Yes, yes." Seeing how composed and calm Wang Xian was, young Master Feng, young Master Luan and young Master Nan were even more certain that Wang Xian couldn't be a simple person. They immediately nodded their heads and stood up. At this very moment, Wang Dahai's cousin and the group of young men completely froze up. Their eyes were filled with disbelief and horror. The most elite young masters of Flow City were actually squatting down and acting deferentially towards a young boy who they had called a brat. This can't be. This can't be. Seeing the three young masters standing up, all of them were breaking out in a cold sweat. Wang Dahai's cousin stood by the side and watched blankly. "This is a banquet by Mogul's son and we won't do anything ourselves here. Get out of our sight and wait for your deaths." The smiles on the three young masters disappeared as they looked coldly across the group of young men. Young Master Feng, young Master Luan, young Master Nan. We. When the group of young men heard the three young masters, cold sweat broke out from all parts of their bodies. Their faces turned pale as they swallowed their saliva, and their eyes were filled with horror. "Don't let us repeat ourselves for the second time," said the three young masters plainly. Their gazes were cold and made the group of young men feel as though they had fallen into an ice cellar. The group of young men were dumbfounded. Their bodies were shivering and they appeared to be thinking of begging for mercy. "Scram! Otherwise, I'll erase all your families from Flow City." Seeing that they weren't leaving, the three young masters issued their last warning. "We will get lost right away. We will get lost right away." The group of young men were desolated as they walked away like distraught zombies. Wang Xian looked at their back views with contempt before smiling and patting the shoulders of Ji Xiang. He was also checking his strength at the same time. Level 2 Martial Artist. Pretty good. Ji Xiang, these are some gifts from Big Brother. As Wang Xian finished his words, he took out several pills. 3 level 2 and level 3 elixir pills each. All of these pills were greatly beneficial for cultivation. Your father will know when to let you consume them. Wang Xian explained and handed the pills into Ji Xiang's hands after seeing his puzzled face. These elixir pills were made from the spiritual medicine Qing Bai sect had given him. He had made 13 level 2 and level 3 elixir pills each and had intended to exchange them for treasures, if there were any. These are elixir pills. Level 2 and level 3 elixir pills. Just as the three young masters turned around, they saw the gifts Wang Xian had for Ji Xiang. Their pupils couldn't help but constrict as they looked on with disbelief. Elixir pills. These were elixir pills. Level 2 and level 3 elixir pills were equivalent to level 3 and level 4 spiritual medicine. If one were to use cash to purchase a level 4 spiritual medicine, he would require $700 to $800 million. Level 3 elixir pills were even more valuable and couldn't be measured in monetary terms. Giving out gifts that are worth hundreds of millions casually. This. The three young masters could feel the edges of their mouths twitching as they witnessed this astonishing incident. A person like this would never be simple. In fact, his relationship with Maniac Ji might not be that between a senior and a junior. Big brother, my father told me to not accept gifts from others casually. Ji Xiang looked hesitant as he replied to Wang Xian. It will be fine. Just tell them it was from me. Your father won't say a thing. Wang Xian waved his hand. It was just a few elixir pills. Although they were valuable, level 2 and level 3 elixir pills weren't really precious items to him at this juncture. Giving them as gifts to the son of Maniac Ji could also be a recognition of Maniac Ji as a friend. Chapter 409, Everyone was shocked. What should we do? What should we do? At this moment, the 6 young men and babes were paled with confusion in their eyes as they walked to one corner of the hall. They sat there with trembling bodies, faces down, murmuring to themselves with trepidation. What the 3 young masters had said was not a joke. Especially the juvenile who had squatted beside him and addressed him as little young master. Who else could that little young master be in the entire Flow City? They felt a strong sense of despair having actually offended someone like this. Those people were lost, breaking out in a cold sweat continuously. Wang Dahai's cousin was confused as well. Never did she expect that her cousin's classmate would know that juvenile from a terrifying background. Those 3 young men were the successors of the supreme class families in Flow City. They were people who her boyfriend should respect and be fearful of. Yet, those people were squatting over there, talking to that young boy with all due respect. Hence, the boyfriend of Wang Daxian's cousin was dazed. He cast his gaze over there when he saw the shy juvenile exchanging conversations with that young man happily. He grimaced. We should really let our family know otherwise, said a young man who was almost in tears as he looked to the few people beside him. They were really petrified. Xiao Yu, your cousin. Your cousin's classmate seems to be on good terms with that juvenile. Go and beg your cousin. Ask your grandpa to beg your cousin. Otherwise, young Master Feng and the rest will really cripple us. The young man grabbed Xiao Yu's arm and spoke with trepidation. Me? Beg my cousin? Xiao Yu was stunned. How could she beg the cousin who she had been looking down on? Get your grandpa. Get him to talk to your cousin. Only that young man can save us now. Xiao Yu, go. Please beg your grandpa, said those young men who lifted up their chins, staring at her with wide and round eyes. I. Go on. Do you want to witness our deaths? Xiao Yu hesitated. But those young men grimaced at her. Fine, I'll go and beg my grandpa. Xiao Yu, with her eyes red, stood up immediately as those young men scowled at her. Xiao Xian, your second wife is here. At this time, Wang Dehai scoffed at Wang Xian, who froze for a moment before he turned to the entrance. Lan Qingyue walked into the banquet hall in a maroon gown, smiling from ear to ear. Several middle-aged men from the Lan family were tagging along with her. In her maroon evening dress and red high heels, Lan Qingyue was smiling more often as compared to her previous aloof look. Lan Qingyue gave off a noble and glamorous temperament after Wang Xian made her a real woman, and after obtaining the inheritance of ancient god Kun breeder. In her heels, her height of 1.8 meters was the center of attraction immediately. The arrival of Lan Qingyue seemed to have brought a ravishing glow to the entire hall. Look, it's the Lan family from Rivertown. She's the general manager of Deep Sea Jewelry, Lan Qingyue. Gosh, she is simply gorgeous. That maroon evening dress coupled with her height, any international models would be a far cry from her. At only 22 years old, she has already assumed the authority of Lan family, heading Deep Sea Jewelry with a market value of 30 billion. She's the true blue rich girl and a business tycoon. She's just like what the rumors said. The youngest and prettiest rich girl in Rivertown. She's just so beautiful. If I could marry her. Stop spouting nonsense. Do you wish to die? Don't you know whose woman this is? If you continue your nonsense, you wouldn't even know who killed you. Whose woman? Miracle Dr. Wang of Rivertown. He's the most formidable backing of Lan Qingyue. That person is the real leading figure that could conceal the sky with a single hand. She's the woman of Miracle Dr. Wang of Rivertown. He is a legendary figure, number 1 on the Outstanding Young Heroes chart, and number 9 on the Miracle Doctors chart. He's a strong alchemist and an inborn expert. He killed an elder of Sacred Followers Guild, but he is still alive. With an order, he could command 5 to 6 inborn experts. Even Maniac G of Rivertown listens to his command. SSS, I recall it now. Not long ago, Maniac G brought several families from Flow City to Rivertown, and annihilated a first-class family then. Miracle Dr. Wang of Rivertown is the most terrifying existence in the southern province. Not even Mogul's son could compare to him. Killing an elder of Sacred Followers Guild? That's a sacred sect, for God's sake. When the crowd saw the arrival of Lan Qingyue and Lan family, they began to comment in whispers. Lan family had been in the limelight recently. Deep Sea Jewelry acquired the Zhou Jewelry at a meager price and became the largest jewelry company in the country. Their market value tripled instantly, stunning the entire jewelry industry. Some insightful people knew that it was all because of Miracle Dr. Wang's influence that the Deep Sea Jewelry could acquire the Zhou Jewelry. And the goddess-like general manager of Deep Sea Jewelry was well known by everyone, not only because of her beauty, but also because Miracle Dr. Wang had annihilated the first-class force for her. Miracle Dr. Wang was a name that could strike fear into everyone in Rivertown now. The crowd in the hall was discussing in low voices as they watched Lan Qingyue with envy and respect. When Wang Xian overheard the discussion, he gave a faint smile and walked over to Lan Qingyue. That young man is walking towards them. Could it be a brainless rich dandy that wants to get to know Lan Qingyue? If he's really a rich dandy, he's obviously looking for his own death. That young man is even dressed in some ordinary casual outfit. He could be some rich dandy. I wonder which upstart family this good-for-nothing came from. Almost 80% of the people in the banquet hall were looking in the direction of Lan Qingyue. Lan family, with their comprehensive strength, could rank in the top 5 in the entire southern province. But that was under the circumstance of not taking Miracle Dr. Wang into consideration. If he was taken into account, none of the families in the southern province could compare with Lan family. Not even Mogul's son's family. Provoking Lan Qingyue was equivalent to digging your own grave. Qingyue. However, what shocked them the most was when that casually dressed young man came to Lan Qingyue. Those few people from Lan family greeted him respectfully. Lan Qingyue was even more happy to take his arm. Xiao Xian. Lan Qingyue leaned on that young man and called out. Damn, that is. Miracle Dr. Wang's name is Wang Xian. That young man is. He's actually Miracle Dr. Wang. Gosh, Miracle Dr. Wang arrived here early, and he was in the banquet hall all along. Fuck. We did not expect to have someone so formidable hiding among us. If we knew Miracle Dr. Wang was here just now, we would have made friends with him. Regardless of whether the people were of the younger generations or the middle-aged generations, all of them were stunned, with regret on their faces. They did not expect that this person from Rivertown would be here. Chapter 410, The son of the richest man, That guy is. Oh gosh. Young Master Feng, Young Master Luan and Young Master Nan, who were sitting by the side, were astonished to see Lan Qingyue holding onto the arm of Wang Xian. I would never have expected him to be Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown. We should have thought about it sooner. Maniac G doesn't have any friends. Among those he knows, only Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown could possibly give out level 2 and level 3 elixir pills as gifts casually. That guy is Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown. If we knew, we should have. The three of them exchanged glances before looking in the direction of Ji Xiang and subsequently Wang Dehai. They hesitated for a moment before walking towards Wang Dehai. Hey brother, how are you? The three of them smiled radiantly and sat beside Wang Dehai courteously. From their tones, one could tell that they were trying to get on the good books of Wang Dehai. Wang Dehai was taken aback. He could vaguely hear the conversation of the surrounding crowd. Now that he saw three young men with powerful backgrounds walking towards him and sitting beside him, he felt a little overwhelmed and didn't know how to respond. Hello. I'm Wang Dehai. What did you say? At the other corner of the banquet hall, Wang Dehai's cousin, Xiao Yu, sat before an old man. She had just illustrated what happened previously to the old man. The old man was astonished and his expressions were changing rapidly. However, they rushed into the entrance of the banquet hall after hearing the conversations around them. Xiao Yu also looked across with doubts and was soon overwhelmed with surprise and shock. Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown. Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown. The old man repeated himself. He looked to his granddaughter, took a deep breath and said, "Tell me exactly how you have offended him previously. Don't leave out any details." Grandpa, we didn't know that he is Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown. We really didn't. Xiao Yu shook her head in horror and repeated in detail the developments of the whole incident. The old man's expression changed rapidly. He looked towards where his grandson was and was taken aback once again. He saw the successors to the three elite families of Flow City conversing with his grandson joyously, smiles never leaving their faces. Dehai and Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown are classmates? The old man regained his composure and asked his granddaughter this. Yeah. They seem to be on really good terms too. Grandpa, can you ask cousin to put in a word with Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown and ask him to let Jingshan off? Don't talk about this anymore. The old man interrupted her directly and stared harshly at his granddaughter. Don't even think about this again. The one you guys have offended is Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown. It's over for you guys. You should be fine, as you are the cousin of Dehai. As for Jingshan and the other young men, they wouldn't be able to escape. If their families knew about this, they would know to handle it as such. TSK. Who asked you guys to be so full of yourselves and look down on others? Who gives you guys the guts to criticize Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown about his attire? A character like him isn't someone we can comment on. You can return home now. What? Grandpa. You. Wang Dehai's cousin was breaking down and looked at her grandfather in fear. Just return home for now. If it wasn't for your cousin, you would be in deep trouble too. The old man glanced at his granddaughter and was a little disappointed. He then looked towards his grandson as excitement gleamed in his eyes. Who would have expected this kid to know Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown? He's much better than that poor father of his. The old man smiled contentedly as he mumbled to himself. It's over. We are totally finished. When the group of young men saw the young man they had mocked previously at the entrance of the banquet hall, and heard the exclaims and conversation of the surrounding crowd, their faces were filled with despair. This time, no one could possibly save them. Recalling how they were criticizing Wang Xian's attire previously, commenting on what made one more superior to others and also demanding him to get lost, the group couldn't help but feel great remorse over their actions. Even if Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown didn't attempt to do anything to them, with his current strength and status, the outcome would be the same. There would be others who would teach them a lesson. Their futures were bleak. Xiao Xian, you are pretty early. Let's find a place to sit down. Lan Qingyue held on to Wang Xian's arm as they walked in. Wang Xian waved in the direction of Ji Xiang and Wang Dehai as he walked in. Wang Dehai was exhilarated and walked over in a hurry. His plump face was flushed from the sudden, intense exercise. At this moment, he finally realized how incredible his brother was. He was simply incredible. Young Master Feng and his friends followed behind shamelessly and walked towards Wang Xian. Qingyue, Miracle Dr. Wang. Are you guys going in? Beside them, Lan Qingyue's uncle pointed to a private suite in the banquet hall and asked them this. We will give it a pass. Uncle, you can go. We would like to stay here for a while, answered Lan Qingyue as she shook her head. Lan Qingyue's uncle smiled and nodded his head. With Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown around, Lan Qingyue wouldn't have to actively engage the guests. Miss Lan, Miracle Dr. Wang, please take a seat. The moment Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue arrived at the forefront, several elders stood up and spoke. Thank you. Wang Xian nodded his head and didn't stand on ceremony. He found a seat and sat down. You're welcome. You're welcome. The few elders waved their hands instantly. The attention of the entire banquet hall had all gathered on Wang Xian. This was still the first time the majority of the people here had caught a glimpse of Wang Xian. Considering his achievements, he wasn't just the king of Rivertown currently. He was the king of the entire southern province. Within the southern province, no one was a match for him. Even Mogul's son was miles away from him. Wang Xian, Lan Qingyue and Wang Dehai sat and chatted casually. Soon, a peal of hearty laughter reverberated from the private suite in the banquet hall. Following which, 3 young men walked out from it. The leader of the 3 young men had blonde hair and looked like he had parents with different geographical origins. The other 2 young men to his sides were rather slim. They looked alike and were conversing energetically with the young man in the middle. That's the son of Mogul Sunday. I heard he has just returned from overseas. Some rumors have it that the son of Mogul Sun has joined a powerful ancestral sect. I wonder if it's true. It's a rare occasion to see the son of Mogul Sunday. I had not expected him to return this year. The surrounding crowd looked at the mixed-blood young man and discussed softly. Wang Xian looked over curiously and his gaze fell on the 3 young men. All of them are martial artists. When looking across them, he could feel strong energies from their bodies. The 3 of them were all exceptionally powerful. The son of Mogul's son was at most 23 or 24 years old. However, he already had the strength of a half-step to inborn expert. His talents were comparable to some saints and saintesses of sacred sects. As for the other 2 young men, they were roughly 33 years old. Both of them had reached the inborn realm and their talents could be considered to be terrifying. I wonder which sacred sect they are from. Wang Xian scrutinized the 3 young men. Considering their talents, they were definitely outstanding disciples raised by sacred sects. The only question would be which sacred sect they had come from. Chapter 4:11, To establish grounds and found ancestral sects. Many thanks to the 2 big brothers, Saint Chi and Saint Wen, for coming to grace the occasion. Please guide us along, for future matters pertaining to our mechanic sect. It's no issue. Brother Sun sure is ambitious. To think you've established grounds and founded an ancestral sect at such a tender age. I'm truly in awe. I had considered joining the dark sect initially. But on second thought, I decided to forego that idea and set up my own ancestral sect instead. Who knows, perhaps it'll become strong enough to be deemed a first-class force in a few decades. Should luck be on my side, it might just end up as a sacred sect. With strong confidence, the son of Mogul's son was conversing with two young men. As he spoke, he exuded an aura which made him seem gutsy enough to challenge all heroes of the world to a duel. The two young men smiled politely but kept mum otherwise. It seemed rather inferior, for a half-step born to be establishing grounds and founding ancestral sects. But, some things cannot be helped, given the party's affluence. There were times when one was considered powerful within the underworld for being very rich. With hundreds of billion worth of assets, it was an easy feat for one to set up an ancestral clan. Brother son, if you wish to establish grounds and found ancestral sects, the least you should do is to start taking in disciples, not even one less. In addition, it's best to take in those who are greatly gifted, along with an elder to help you with the overseeing of matters. For there are many things to take care of, the two young men reminded the son of Mogul Sunday. I'm well aware of this. Which is why I'm here today at my father's banquet to take in some disciples. I'll have to trouble you big brothers to assist me later, the son of Mogul's son replied with a grin. Within the entire southern province, there's only Maniac G who's an inborn expert. Given my powers, I would come in among the top 3 within the southern province. So establishing ground and founding ancestral sect is going to be a breeze for me, along with the taking in of several outstanding disciples. Moreover, given my father's influence and our Sun family's assets, I believe many would join our mechanic sect. The son of Mogul's son assured them confidently. As he looked around at everyone in the ballroom, he made his way towards the center with a prideful beam. The crowd returned a curious look as they saw the son of Mogul's son walking towards the center of the ballroom. Everyone, may I have your attention, the son of Mogul's son said with his head lifted. He cast his gaze at the hundreds around him and continued explaining with a faint smile, this is Sun Longxian. And I'm honored to be meeting everyone here. As Sun Long spoke, he took several steps to the side. With the first stride he made, he exuded an air, while his second stride was bolstered by an overpowering stance that shot across the entire ballroom. As I've just stepped foot into the underworld, I seek your guidance. Sun Longxian introduced. Boom! Right as Sun Longxian ended his words, his attire shuffled, even in the absence of wind. The powerful stance took everyone in the ballroom by storm. This stance. Such a powerful stance, one commented. To think that the son of Mogul's son is a martial artist, and one who is this powerful. I'm afraid his prowess has reached a half-step inborn. The son of Mogul's son is currently at most 23 to 24 years of age. Yet, in spite of that, he's already attained half-step inborn status. It seems like he would make the top 3 within the entire southern province. Too powerful. Plus, Longxian is really handsome. Goodness, if only I could marry him. How great would that be? Everyone in the ballroom reacted with shock upon sensing the stance which Sun Longxian possessed. With a father who was the richest man in the southern province, he was no doubt a son blessed by the deities since he boasted powerful abilities in his early 20s, which would easily be crowned within the province. As Sun Longxian noticed the surprised look on everyone's faces, he smiled in satisfaction and seemed very pleased, with his brows raised. I have an announcement to make today. Sun Longxian explained with his arms folded behind his back like a grandmaster. Given my status as a half-step inborn, Sun Longxian, am here to establish grounds and found sections. Hence, I hereby announce the founding of Mechanic Sect with effect from today onward. Whereas the two beside me are the duo, Saint Chi and Saint Wen, from the Dark Sect. In times to come, they will also assume the role of the honorary elders of the Mechanic Sect. He continued by introducing his two big brothers. So, what's the Mechanic Sect about? Sun Longxian began to talk about his establishment. As he spoke, He spread his palm open where a metallic lotus appeared. With a swing of his arm, the lotus took off into the surrounding air behind him. Zing, zing, zing. The lotus petals detached themselves before shooting forward. Bam, bam, bam. One by one, the petals landed on a table by the side. Zip, zip, zip. Under the astonished stares of the crowd, the same table was split neatly into more than a dozen pieces. The metallic petals returned to the lotus, where it swirled in mid-air atop the flora as it shimmered in dazzling rays. This is the technique of the mechanic sect, which is somewhat similar to that of the dark sects, yet entirely different on its own. It's imparted with the Lu Ban technique and integrates it as one along with the use of mechanics. As he spoke, Sun Longxian stretched his arms out. Pieces began to build upon his body before assembling themselves to form metallic armor. It resembled a scene from the sci-fi movie, Iron Man. Creak, creak, creak. A pair of black wings emerged from Sun Longxuan's back, while his chest area was shielded by a black cuirass. As he flapped his wings gently, he soared into the air. The wings folded themselves leisurely in front of Sun Longxian before lashing open again in an instant. This empowered Sun Longxian with a dominating aura. Such is the trait of the mechanics sect, where one's internal energy merges with the use of mechanics to become a whole, emitting formidable powers. I dare say, I'm unrivaled within the half-step inborn realm, given my current powers as one. Once my choice weapon's been upgraded into an inborn spiritual weapon, I too can step foot into the inborn realm by feeding on the weapon's energy through the reciprocation method. Today marks the start of my mechanics sect, where I'll need to take in disciples, so that we can work together and build one powerful ancestral sect, and gain a strong foothold within the underworld. Sun Longxian burst out in laughter as he spoke before he turned to face the crowd. I wonder if anyone here wishes to join my mechanics sect. Our sect has no lack of resources and funds, while our ancestral sect grounds have also been built. I'll go. To think, the son of Mogul's son wants to establish grounds and found sects, one volunteered. How awe-inspiring, establishing grounds and founding sections. While the powers of a half-step inborn would suffice for such, to establish grounds and found sects in one's early 20s? This son of Mogul's son sure has lofty aspirations. Those two young men, to think they're the duo, Saint Chi and Saint Wen, from the dark sect. Not only are they inborns, but they're also saints of a sacred sect. The dark sect is renowned for its use of hidden weapons. To think the son of Mogul's son has invited the two saints over to be his honorary elders. The duo, Saint Chi and Saint Wen, are candidates deemed to become the future sacred sect leaders. Now, given the backing from the duo, the mechanics sect has immediately ascended to become a first-class force, and one with substantial backing, to add to it. This is truly something. To think Sun Longxian has managed to invite the saints of a sacred sect to be his honorary elders. It's obvious that he has friendly ties with the dark sect. Who knows, perhaps the mechanics sect might just become a powerful ancestral sect within the underworld in times to come. The ballroom crowd gasped, surprised by the news of Mogul's son's son wanting to establish grounds and found sections. Furthermore, he revealed his intention through an elaborate display of prowess. This was no doubt breaking news, taking the entire southern province by storm. At the sight of everyone's astonished faces, Sun Longxian smiled with overwhelming confidence. I guarantee those who join the mechanics sect a life of endless ascensions and successes. This will be the best choice you've made. Chapter 412, Too Trash. A young man couldn't contain his excitement and asked, "Excuse me, sect leader Sunday. Could you clarify the requirements to join the mechanics sect?" This was a sect established by the son of the richest man in southern province. He also had the strength of a half-step to inborn expert and two saints from sacred sects as honorary elders. Despite the recent establishment, this sect wouldn't be weak. Moreover, with the wealth of the son of the richest man, the sect wouldn't be lacking in resources. I'll let Saint Chi and Saint Wen hold the assessment in a while. If your talents are great or you are above level 5 martial artists, you can join directly. Level 9 martial artists can join as an elder directly. The resources you get to enjoy in our ancestral sect will be beyond everyone's expectations. Sun Longxian looked at that young man and answered with a smile. The threshold of level 5 martial artist to join wasn't particularly high. Moreover, Sun Longxian mentioned the resources of the new sect. This tempted many people. Many martial artists in the hall were moved. Even some first-class and second-class families had the intentions to join the mechanic sect. Joining a first-class force with a strong background could be greatly beneficial for them. Considering that mechanic sect had just been established, joining now might make them the core of the sect in the future. I hope I can make it through the assessment. Wow! The mechanic sect has just been established. This is the best time to join them. I definitely must get in. Seeing the crowd being moved, Sun Longxian was filled with anticipation and satisfaction. He placed both of his hands behind his back and said, "The mechanic sect has a complete cultivation legacy directly to the inborn realm and even higher. Hee. Let me assess your talents." A young man beside Sun Longxian stepped forward and looked at the crowd. He opened up his palm and revealed a round ball. The round ball was densely packed with small holes. He threw it lightly into the air and the round ball suspended above the banquet hall. Swish swish swish. At this moment, countless metal beads flew downward. The round beads didn't fly down without order. Instead, it was as though they had targets in mind as they landed on selected people. 2 round beads flew towards Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue. Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue were taken aback. They reached out and caught the round metal beads, feeling a tinge of unexplainable attraction from them. This is likely a unique method to assess one's talents. Some cultivation arts require unique cultivation talents. Wang Xian looked at the round beads in his hand and explained to Lan Qingyue. This mechanic sect is really interesting. They are using things like those in sci-fi movies, chuckled Lan Qingyue. As the round beads fell onto various martial artists in the hall, Sun Longxuan's gaze followed and landed in the direction where the first 2 beads flew to. These beads were made from special metals and could sense if one had an affinity to the metal attribute. The first few beads would go for those with the best talents. When he saw Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue, he was taken aback slightly. His attention fell on Lan Qingyue and he was impressed by her beauty. Soon, his eyebrows knitted together and he walked towards her. "Hey, beautiful girl, the first assessment round bead has fallen into your hand. It would appear you have great talents and are destined to be with my mechanic sect." Sun Longxian walked to Lan Qingyue. At a closer distance, he was even more attracted and in awe as he spoke to her. Would this beautiful girl be interested in joining an ancestral sect? Nope. Lan Qingyue shook her head, placed the round bead on the table and gave a friendly smile. "Oh? That's fine. Join our mechanic sect and you will be our first disciple. I would provide you with a large amount of resources and groom you to be an expert. What do you think?" Excitement gleamed in his eyes as he made his proposal. Not only was he able to get a talented disciple but he would also be able to get a breathtakingly beautiful girl. "I'm sorry. I'm not interested." Lan Qingyue shook her head and answered apologetically. "Ha!" Upon hearing Lan Qingyue, Sun Longxuan's face stiffened and his smile was forced. "Rejection. She actually rejected me." He was the son of the richest man in southern province and a half-step to inborn expert. Moreover, he had even called upon 2 saints from a sacred sect, who were both inborn experts, to prop up his sect. Any of these 3 reasons would be an overwhelming attraction against any family or sect in southern province. He was certain that no one could possibly reject his personal invitation. Yet, he was rejected for his very first invitation. This embarrassed him. Sun Longxian raised an eyebrow and discontent gleamed in his eyes. "Hey, beautiful girl, are you looking down on the ancestral sect that I, Sun Longxian, am establishing? Do you think a first-class force isn't attractive at all?" This. As Sun Longxian walked towards Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue, the entire banquet hall had gone silent. Everyone looked on in shock at the development. SSS. Will this end up in a fight? Why do I have a bad premonition about this? Does she need a reason for not joining? Sun Longxian was overly confident and direct to the point of arrogance. Lan Qingyue looked at him with ridicule gleaming in her eyes. Haha, of course. I, Sun Longxian, like to get to the roots of all things. I can say that in the entire southern province, not a single force would be stronger than my mechanic sect. Sun Longxian contorted his lips into a smile proudly as he stared coldly at Lan Qingyue. Pa! Because your mechanic sect is too trash. Seeing this brat questioning Lan Qingyue, Wang Xian revealed a smirk, threw the round bead in his hand on the table and answered on her behalf plainly. Ha! Upon hearing Wang Xian's response, Sun Longxuan's expression instantly turned gloomy. He turned around, glowered at him and remarked harshly, "Brat, I dare you to repeat what you've just said. Getting to the roots of all things might not be a good thing. Let me say this again, your mechanic sect is too trash." Wang Xian stared right back at Sun Longxian and repeated himself with contempt. Ha ha ha. Sun Longxian broke into hysterical laughter. He glowered at Wang Xian with killing intent gleaming in his eyes. He raised an eyebrow and continued, "You dare to call the sect that I, Sun Longxian, am establishing trash? Come. Tell me about your family or sect. We can have a life and death battle to see who will be annihilated first. Rising through the ranks while stepping on your sect would be a great idea. This son of Mogul's son is. Simply. Is this confidence or arrogance? He's going to cause the downfall of his father. Stepping on Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown to rise in ranks and to establish his authority? Is he going to create a sacred sect?" Everyone in the banquet hall had turned solemn upon seeing how things had developed. The son of Mogul's son was pretty strong and had an incredible background. However, why was he so ignorant? In the entire banquet hall, you could offend anyone but Lan Qingyue and Miracle Dr. Wang. Yet, he chose to do so. I don't belong to any sect. Wang Xian looked straight at Sun Longxian and answered plainly. Huh. Factionless and yet you dare to be so brazen? Sun Longxian looked at Wang Xian with contempt before lifting his head proudly and turning to the entire banquet hall. Those who have received the round beads are all qualified to join my mechanic sect. Those who wish to join the mechanic sect can all come forward right now. Let the sect teach this brat who dares to insult our mechanic sect. We will let him know the strength of our mechanic sect. Chapter 413, Get over here, all of you. Those who've received the round beads are all qualified to join the mechanic sect. Now, get over here, all of you who wish to join the mechanic sect. The ancestral sect is about to teach a fellow a lesson for humiliating us. We'll give him a taste of our prowess. Sun Longxian said conceitedly. His voice lingered throughout the entire banquet hall. At his side, the two saints from the dark sect watched with a faint smile. They followed closely behind Sun Longxian, an explicit display that they had his back. As he lifted his head, Sun Longxian took a glance at Wang Xian before placing his hands behind his back. Given his father's status as the richest man of the southern province, along with his cultivation status as a half-step inborn, as well as the support of two inborn experts who were also the saints of the dark sect, Sun Longxian was convinced that many would join his mechanic sect. This was no doubt a window of opportunity to many present. Sun Longxuan's words rang in everyone's ears as every single person in the hall responded with a peculiar look on their faces. Join the mechanic sect, and punish this miracle Dr. Wang of Rivertown? Was this seeking death, or insanity at play? The crowd who received the spherical pearl were stunned and speechless before they threw it onto the table before them. Given its comprehensive legacy for cultivation, strong support backing and ample ancestral sect resources, there were many who had wanted to join the mechanic sect. In particular, the second-class families who were especially piqued. However, the first thing to do now after joining the mechanic sect would be to form an enmity with Miracle Dr. Wong of Rivertown and teach him a lesson. This sent everyone palpitating as if millions of horses had galloped on their hearts. This was not the joining of mechanic sect, this was seeking death. While you may have the support of 2 saints from a sacred sect, this Miracle Dr. Wong of Rivertown was one who had even dared to kill an elder of a sacred sect, hence what would it matter, even if you were a saint? Deafening silence filled the banquet hall, as no one dared to comment, much less stand up to join the mechanic sect. The atmosphere was rather tense. Sun Longxian was dumbfounded. He cast a doubtful look across the banquet hall before lifting his brow in a frown. What happened? Was it not just earlier when many were interested in joining my mechanic sect? How come no one has stepped forward? Huh. Wang Xian laughed at the sight before turning to Sun Longxian and throwing him a sarcastic remark. There's nothing wrong with referring to your mechanic sect as trash. Establishing grounds and founding ancestral sects, when not even one person wishes to join. If a person alone would suffice as an ancestral sect, then that's pretty interesting. You, Sun Longxian uttered with a contorted look. With clenched fists, he stared coldly at Wang Xian before making a sweeping glance at everyone in the banquet hall. This is your final chance. If you don't grab hold of it, you can forget about joining my mechanic sect in the future, for good. Sun Longxian warned. Everyone present was made speechless by his statement, which came with threatening intent. Who would dare join the mechanic sect when you want to get rid of Miracle Dr. Wong of Rivertown even though you were just established? Would you not be after sacred sects in the future then? Moreover, it remained to be seen if the mechanic sect could still exist in the future. Fine, alright then. Sun Longxian snapped with an overly bleak expression as he clenched his fists. He had thought of many scenarios but did not expect this one in front of him now, where not even one person was willing to join. He gritted his teeth and glared at Wang Xian with bloodshot eyes. Do you know that you're courting doom right now? He snarled. The 2 saints from the dark sect arched their brows along with the comment as they stood beside Sun Longxian before casting a look at Wang Xian. I'm also a relentless one when it comes to chasing answers. Hence I'd like to know, in what ways am I courting doom? Wang Xian chuckled as he asked Sun Longxian tauntingly. It's rather interesting how you go about coercing people when they don't wish to join your sect. Lan Qingyue shot Sun Longxian a dismissive look. Fine, alright then. Sun Longxian conceded with tight fists. You've completely provoked me today, he declared as veins began to protrude from his cheeks. Where's Miracle Dr. Wong right now, old Qin? Little did I expect him to really turn up. It's such an honor for me. Please, introduce me to him. I bet he's in the banquet hall right now, ha. Let's get going. Right then, a voice could be heard from the banquet hall reception. Everyone heard it loud and clear, given the silence which filled the area. Within the banquet hall, the crowd looked on with twisted expressions. Based on the voice, many had come to know that Mogul's son was here and responded with odd looks on their faces. To think that the father had asked to be introduced to the one his son was about to challenge to a duel. A group of more than a dozen men emerged from another room, and each and every one of them was a Mogul of the cities they hailed from. At the center was a rotund middle-aged man with very small eyes, who looked very shrewd. With an air of prestige, this was none other than Mogul's son of the southern province. Along with him were old Qin and members of the Lan family. Ha! Mogul's son uttered. As he came into the banquet hall, he sensed the peculiarity in the atmosphere and swept his gaze across the floor with a slight frown. When he saw that his son was livid, with a tinge of bloodthirst in his eyes, Mogul's son hurried over with a puzzled expression. What's wrong, Longxian? Mogul's son asked, slanting his brow. What's wrong? He nudged a second time, this time taking another look at his son. It's nothing, father. Sun Longxian replied with locked brows as he saw his father approaching. I was just about to teach a reckless fellow a lesson, he explained. Behind Mogul's son, old Qin and the rest looked on with astonishment as well. They peered at Sun Longxian before turning to face Wang Xian, who was sitting in the forefront and had a bad premonition. The group headed straight towards Wang Xian. "What's wrong, Wang Xian?" they asked. "It's nothing." Wang Xian excused himself without much concern. "There's a harebrained fellow here, saying he wants to teach me a lesson," he added. This, old Qin and the rest trailed off with an astounded look before turning over immediately to face the son of Mogul Sunday. Upon hearing the conversation, Mogul's son returned with a startled expression and turned to look at his son with an intense glare. The two saints, who had been by Sun Longxuan's side all this time, frowned upon hearing the conversation. They exchanged glances with a tinge of shock in their eyes. "Father, wait till I maim that impudent fellow," Sun Longxian muttered softly to his father with a bleak expression. "Shut up." Yet, Sun Longxian had just ended his words when a low growl came from Mogul's son, as he shushed his son with a burning glare. "Father, you," Sun Longxian began in confusion. Smack! Sun Longxian was stunned. He had yet to finish his words when the slap from his father struck across his face. "Damn it, are you blind?" Mogul's son snapped, before jerking his head right back. As he looked at Wang Xian, who stood beside old Qin, he inhaled a deep breath. "Miracle Dr. Wang, pardon my poor discipline that caused you this inconvenience." Mogul's son walked over and bowed respectfully as he apologized with a tinge of fear in his eyes. Based on his knowledge of this Miracle Dr. Wang of Rivertown, he knew that he was no kind soul. Miracle Dr. Wang had become famous for his killings. The wipeout of a first-class force, the battle with Flame Palace, as well as the slaughtering of sacred sect elders. Along with numerous other titles, such as the top of the Outstanding Young Heroes chart, 9th on the Miracle Doctors chart, Master Alchemist. He was still most renowned for his barbarity and fearlessness. Hence Mogul's son, the richest man in the southern province, knew he meant nothing much in front of such a man. Chapter 414, Alchemy Furnace. This wretched kid. I was still thinking of introducing him to Miracle Dr. Wang so he could help him out on the path ahead. Yet, he didn't know what is right for him and even offended Miracle Dr. Wang. Mogul's son was exceptionally furious and stood beside Wang Xian in fear. Wang Xian looked to Mogul's son with a radiant smile before turning and looking at Sun Longxian with contempt. "Are you curious now as to why not a single person is willing to join your mechanic sect?" "That's because I'm Wang Xian." "That's because I'm Wang Xian." It was 5 simple words, but the surrounding crowd could all sense the dominance in Wang Xian's words. Just because he was Wang Xian, not a single person from all the families and sects in the southern province dared to join Sun Longxuan's mechanic sect even if they had strong desires to. Upon hearing Wang Xian, Sun Longxuan's eyebrows twitched violently as he gritted his teeth. Just because he's Wang Xian. He saw his father bowing down and apologizing in fear and trepidation before his eyes. This was the very first time he saw his father being so careful before another person. Moreover, he was just a young man. He clenched his fists tightly and was filled with astonishment. "Come and apologize to Miracle Dr. Wang immediately." Mogul's son pulled a long face, looked at his son and ordered him furiously. "Father. Go." At this moment, a voice reverberated from beside him. He was taken aback and stared at the 2 guys whom he addressed as big brothers in disbelief. They were the saints from a sacred sect, and even they were asking him to apologize. Is he someone that even the saints of a sacred sect are wary of? Who the hell is Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown? Sun Longxian, who had just returned from overseas, was exceptionally embarrassed. Despite being overwhelmed with humiliation, he walked with heavy steps towards Wang Xian. "Apologize." Seeing his son dragging his feet and being indecisive, Mogul's son slapped him on his head. Sun Longxian lowered his head and didn't dare to say another word. Although he was strong and his father was just an ordinary man currently, even inborn experts wouldn't encroach on his father's authority. "Miracle Dr. Wang, I'm sorry. You should have expected this outcome and not acted as you did. No matter where you are, it's important to learn humility first. It is especially so in the underworld. If you offend one you can't afford to, you might lose your life. Wang Xian chuckled as he instructed him. Yes, yes. Miracle Dr. Wang is right. This brat was overwhelmed with the power he has and became brazen because of his background. He deserves it. Mogul's son nodded his head and agreed with Wang Xian. Wang Xian waved his hand. Seeing Mogul's son apologizing to him fearfully and in trepidation, Wang Xian had no intention to be too demanding in this matter. After all, Sun Longxian was just an arrogant half-step to inborn brat. Thank you, Miracle Dr. Wang, for your magnanimity. After I learned that Miracle Dr. Wang was coming, I prepared a gift for you. I hope you will accept it. Seeing that Wang Xian didn't press on the matter, Mogul's son was finally able to heave a sigh of relief and quickly commented. I'm here mainly to see if there's anything good in this trading area. If there is, I'll do a fair trade. Wang Xian said to Mogul Sunday. Alright, Miracle Dr. Wang, please come with me. The trading area is right at the back. I'll bring you there, said Mogul's son with smiles as he led the way for Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded in response and followed behind him with Lan Qingyue. Seeing how deferential his father was acting towards the young man, Sun Longxian looked extremely bitter. He looked at the two young men beside him, took a deep breath and asked solemnly, Big brothers, who the hell is that guy? Saint Qi and Saint Wen looked cautiously at Sun Longxian and answered, he's an extremely powerful young man and the number one on the Outstanding Young Heroes chart currently. What? Number one on the Outstanding Young Heroes chart? Sun Longxian was taken aback. Naturally, he knew about the Outstanding Young Heroes chart. All those who were ranked in the top 5 were inborn experts below 25 years old. As for the number one ranked person, he definitely had incredible strength. In fact, he might even have a strength that could match those experienced inborn experts. Besides that, he's a miracle doctor who ranks in the top 10 on the Miracle Doctors chart, a master alchemist, and annihilated an entire first-class force previously. He had a conflict with the Flame Palace which was annihilated a while back, and even slew the elders from the Sacred Followers Guild some time ago, Saint Qi and Saint Wen explained. That demon-like young man couldn't be described with common sense. Not many people would dare to kill elders from a sacred sect. Not only did he commit the killings, but he was still alive and kicking at this moment. Even with their status as saints of the dark sect, they would avoid offending a person like him to the best of their ability. It was hard to tell if he would disregard their status as saints of a sacred sect and kill them on the spot. Gulp. Sun Longxian swallowed a mouthful of saliva as fear slowly crept up within him. Despite spending most of his time overseas, he still knew about the strength of a sacred sect. That young man has just killed an elder from a sacred sect? He's so insane. Cold sweat was breaking out on Sun Longxuan's forehead. Once, 3 to 4 inborn experts stood up for him before the Flame Palace while risking incurring the wrath of the Flame Palace. He is at least able to summon 4 to 5 inborn experts. Coupled with the fact that he knows no fear, no one will offend him without reasons or if the matter does not concern huge interests, said Saint Qi and Saint Wen while frowning. It was at least the case for them. This was because a person like Wang Xian wouldn't care about your background. It's no surprise that my father was so horrified a while ago. Sun Longxian felt enlightened. He was a prideful person and so was his father. The connections with Saint Qi and Saint Wen came from his father. Moreover, he had seen his father conversing with the elders from the dark sect. Never once did he see his father trembling in fear and acting so deferentially to them. The incident today had really taught Sun Longxian a lifelong lesson. To keep a low profile at all times. Miracle Dr. Wang, the trading today will be starting soon. Let's take a look at some of my collection. I had it prepared for Longxuan's sect previously. However, I don't think he is capable of becoming a sect leader and there won't be a need for this collection. Mogul's son brought Wang Xian to his private room and explained with a radiant smile on his face. There were tables around them and the table at the center already had things on it. Spiritual grass. There are 3 tufts of level 4 spiritual grass, some weapons, and some machines built from the legacy of Lu Ban. Oh right, I also have a small cauldron. Mogul's son pointed to the center as he explained to Wang Xian excitedly. Wang Xian nodded his head and turned his attention to the table in the center. When he saw the small cauldron that was half a meter in size, he was shocked. Excitement gleamed in his eyes as he walked towards it immediately. Alchemy furnace, level 5. Alchemy furnace. Oh gosh! This is an alchemy furnace. Wang Xian exclaimed in shock as he approached it. When he arrived before the alchemy furnace, he started observing the red alchemy furnace carefully. An alchemy furnace was something he had been looking for a long time. He couldn't even find one in the national treasury. Therefore, he was shocked to learn that Mogul's son had an alchemy furnace. Chapter 415, The Dragon Sect Assembly, 50 and Born, 1. A level 5 alchemy furnace was able to support the refinement of elixir pills of level 5 and below. That made an alchemy furnace far more valuable than an inborn spiritual weapon. Although this was merely a level 5 alchemy furnace, it would be no exaggeration to say that its worth was equivalent to an inborn spiritual weapon. Yet, in the hands of one who did not know how to refine elixir pills, an alchemy furnace would then be worth nothing more than an ordinary level 9 weapon. An alchemy furnace? Mogul's son asked with a puzzled look, upon Wang Xian's shriek of astonishment. Obviously, he had no idea that this little Chinese cauldron had been an alchemy furnace, as they were very common throughout ancient Chinese history. The Chinese cauldron had made up a huge proportion amongst the Chinese bronzeware. In ancient times, they had been used by people for cooking and storing meats, along with holding incense or joss sticks as a ritual offering to the gods, before it served as an alchemy furnace. Had it not been for the heat which this little cauldron radiated, Mogul's son would have deemed it to be like any other ordinary cauldron. That's right, an alchemy furnace it is. Wang Xian cheered in excitement, as he gave the side of the alchemy furnace a gentle pat. Zing! The origin source flame for refining elixir pills was sent straight into the alchemy furnace. Viroom! The alchemy furnace came to life as if it had been revitalized. It emitted a gentle red glow while a flame was ignited and shot into the air. But the heat was latent, and could not be felt from the exterior of the alchemy furnace. With a swing of his arm, the entire alchemy furnace suspended mid-air, and he gave it a second pat. Zing, zing! The light and crisp tingle sounded once again before Wang Xian peeked into the alchemy furnace. As expected, 25 crimson bronze wares appeared inside, all of which were emitting bouts of gentle glow. The refinement of a level 5 elixir pill would require 25 types of spiritual grasses, which was why there were 25 bronze wares within the alchemy furnace to hold the individual spiritual grasses. This also meant the maximum capacity of this alchemy furnace when it came to the refinement of elixir pills. Sun Longxian and the 2 saints from the dark sect had just entered the room when they saw the alchemy furnace suspended in mid-air in front of Wang Xian. At the sight, the trio was in awe. They could sense a formidable force of flame energy brewing from within the alchemy furnace. Around them, the crowd looked on at the alchemy furnace as it remained suspended while glowing in red light. The miraculous sight had also taken these business magnates of the southern province, as well as the family heads of various ancient martial artist families, by utter surprise. Not bad. Not bad indeed. Wang Xian laughed. With a swerve of his arm, he had the alchemy furnace lowered onto the ground. Here's 10 level 3 and 10 level 2 elixir pills. Should you want to refine elixir pills in the future, you can come to me. I'll refine them for you free of charge. Wang Xian exclaimed. With a huge wave, he tossed all the elixir pills in his hand over to Mogul Sunday. What? 10 level 3 and 10 level 2 elixir pills. Mogul's son shrieked. He had an inkling when it came to the worth of elixir pills and knew that those in his hands were worth several billion. Furthermore, they could not even be bought with money. Sun Longxian stared at the multiple elixir pills with a burning gaze. Elixir pills were something that even he had not had the chance to consume prior. To think that Wang Xian could actually toss over 20 of them right now. No doubt a wicked talent. This won't do, this won't do. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I didn't even know of the uses of this little cauldron. Since you have uncovered its purpose, this means that it has an affinity with you, Miracle Dr. Wang. Hence, this alchemy furnace shall be my gift to you. Mogul's son explained hurriedly. Take it, I won't take advantage of you either. The value of a level 5 alchemy furnace is worth far more than these. Wang Xian dismissed with a wave, not the least bit concerned about the offer he had made. Other than those level 4 to 5 which would be very useful to him, these elixir pills of level 2 to 3 served no purpose for him otherwise. To the point where they were useless even to Xiaoyu, Guan Shuqing and the rest. This, Mogul's son uttered in hesitation. But he declined to comment further upon seeing Wang Xian's elated look. In that case, thank you, Miracle Dr. Wang. Take a look and see if anything else catches your eye. Mogul's son exclaimed in all smiles as he gestured to the items on the counter. Wang Xian shook his head leisurely after a sweeping glance. It had been unexpected jubilation to have received an alchemy furnace from this place. He had no desire for anything else. In the deals that followed, nothing else caught his eye, while the best items were merely the few which Mogul's son had brought out. However, Wang Xian had been very amazed by the items produced by son Longxian. There was a pair of wings, crafted using grade 9 metallic. When worn, these metallic wings would allow a martial artist to fly in the air. These wings were very helpful in the directing and honing of one's internal energy. With extended cultivation, one might even be able to fly unaided simply by prodding their own body thereafter. Brother Xian, isn't this really incredible? It caused me such great pains to come up with this. Sis-in-law, take a look at this bangle. With a gentle press, it'll transform into a glove. Sun Longxian introduced it to Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue as he stood by the couple's side. He beamed brightly upon seeing their interest in his creations. As if a completely changed person, he turned from an arrogant and prideful young master to a flattering underling. There were times when one would be jealous of others who were a little better than themselves. Yet, when the abilities of others had reached a certain benchmark, even the jealousy of the weaker party would be replaced with admiration and respect. Wang Xian nodded as he looked at the items and asked, "So you know equipment refining?" Equipment refining? I don't think it's considered as such. The Lu Ban technique terms this as equipment craftsmanship. With a puzzled look, Sun Longxian replied while shaking his head. As opposed to equipment refining, Sun Longxian did not have the means to conjure up powerful weapons through refining. Yet, given a combination of metallic elements, he was able to create formidable weapons. And the weapons created would be unique ones, such as wings and automobiles. Equipment craftsmanship? That's very befitting. It's very similar to equipment refining, but more dependent on the use of metals, Wang Xian remarked. While equipment craftsmanship is also about improving inferior things and making them better, Sun Longxian added. Nonetheless, this equipment craftsmanship is also very impressive. Be it equipment refining or equipment craftsmanship, it did not matter. What Wang Xian had most desired were inborn spiritual weapons. The ascension of the dragon field had required 1,000 inborn spiritual weapons. It was 10 at night by the time he arrived at Rivertown. After 2 hours of activity on the bed, Wang Xian headed over to the floating island. Young master. Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan greeted respectfully. They had been staying on the island but came out to receive Wang Xian upon sensing his arrival. Wang Xian nodded. How many amongst the Dragonians have attained inborn status? He continued to ask. There are already 13 of them, young master. While the rest are also about to step into the inborn realm. Mo Yuan answered. Given 20 days, can all of them achieve inborn status? Wang Xian asked overtly. Yes. Mo Yuan responded without wavering in the slightest. Gather all of them, and call them over. We're close to the new year. Wang Xian instructed before strolling over to the spiritual medicine garden. It's time for the dragon sect's comeback, Wang Xian commented, and also time to compete within the underworld. He smiled, as the edges of his mouth arched upwards. That day would be coming very soon. Chapter 416, The Dragon Sect Assembly, 50 Inborn, 2. The Dragon Sect consisted of 50 Dragonians excluding Imo Yuan and Imo Qinglong. After the death of 2 Dragonians, adding 2 additional people would top up the number to 50 again. It had been more than 5 months since Wang Xian had taken in the Dragonians. At that point, the 8 extraordinary meridians of all the Dragonians were cleared. After clearing, they would be able to reach the Inborn realm within 100 days. However, as they had to enter the underworld and undergo trials in the process, their cultivation progress had been delayed. After 5 months, only 13 of them had reached the Inborn realm. Now that Wang Xian had gathered all of them and ordered them to cultivate incessantly, it would take approximately 20 days for all of them to reach the Inborn realm. With 50 Inborn realm experts, it would be sufficient for the Dragon Sect to become a sacred sect. Wang Xian wanted to establish a sacred sect and compete with other sacred sects. Imo Qinglong has broken through to the half-step to Dan realm and Imo Yuan will be achieving that soon. As for the other Dragonians, they will be able to match middle-class Inborn experts the moment they reach the Inborn realm but will still be a distance away from pinnacle Inborn experts. I have to refine some elixir pills to increase their strength. Wang Xian went to the spiritual medicine garden and looked at the spiritual medicine within. At this point, there were over 60 tufts of level 4 spiritual medicine, 28 tufts of level 5 spiritual medicine and close to 300 tufts of level 3 spiritual medicine. In terms of variety, there wasn't a lot. There were roughly 40 different kinds of spiritual medicine. Level 4 elixir pills wouldn't have many benefits for the Dragonians. Only level 5 elixir pills would be beneficial. However, level 5 elixir pills would require the combination of 25 different spiritual medicine and grasses to refine. I don't have enough level 5 spiritual medicine and grass. Wang Xian looked across the spiritual medicine in the garden and the elixir pill recipes for various level 5 elixir pills flashed past his mind. There's a level 5 elixir pill recipe where I have all of the spiritual medicine to refine. Wang Xian focused on the elixir pill recipe, Devil's Mark Pill. Level 5 elixir pills had huge effects for Inborn experts. Once the elixir pills were over level 5, they would typically have an elemental attribute. For example, water attribute elixir pills would be beneficial for Dan realm experts with water attribute affinity. Among level 5 elixir pills, the stronger elixir pills would also have elemental attributes. Devil's Mark Pill was one of them and happened to be suitable for the Dragonians who cultivated Devil's Arts. However, I would require Devil attribute energies to refine Devil's Mark Pill. Wang Xian thought to himself, nonetheless, Devil attribute energies wouldn't be that difficult to find. At the very minimum, he could get them from Xiao Yu or Elder Fong. Haze. It appears that I have to get some blood from Xiao Yu or Elder Fong. As a skeletal dragon, their fresh blood would be exceptionally precious spiritual medicine. Using them to refine elixir pills would be more than sufficient. Although it felt weird to use the blood of his sister to refine elixir pills, it should be fine if he was just borrowing a little. Wang Xian could already visualize how Xiao Yu would stare at him. He chuckled and looked to the other 24 types of spiritual medicine required. Among which, the majority of them were still just level 3 and 4 currently. He had to increase their levels to level 5. For the next 2 days, Wang Xian would accompany Guan Shuqing, Lan Qingyue, Xiao Yu, and the girls when he was free. As for the remaining time, he spent it on increasing the levels of spiritual medicine and grass on the floating island. Since he'd obtained the Wood Dragon Ball, increasing the levels of spiritual grass and medicine had become much quicker than before. During the few days of the Chinese New Year, Wang Xian's villa had also gotten livelier. There were over 10 wealthy Rivertown families and moguls who paid him a visit. Even Mogul's son brought his son to pay him a visit on the 3rd day of the Lunar New Year. Wang Dahai also came over excitedly. He finally had his day. After the incident at the banquet, everyone knew that Wang Dahai was the brother of miracle Dr. Wang. His grandfather even asked him to stay for the new year and had finally seen him as his grandson. Because of his connection with Wang Xian, Mogul's son promoted his grandfather several times. Those families in Flow City were treating them with warm hospitality and wanted to forge cordial relationships with them. In Flow City, they were in the limelight. The various guests made the villa incomparably lively. This was the most boisterous New Year Wang Xian had. After the New Year, Wang Xian continued on increasing the level of spiritual medicine and grass. Level 5 spiritual grass and medicine weren't as easy as those at level 2 or 3. To increase a level 3 spiritual grass or medicine to level 5, it would require more than 10,000 points of dragon energy. Moreover, it would take at least dozens of hours. 7 days after the New Year, tufts of level 5 spiritual grass and medicine were finally done. A total of 15 sets or 360 tufts of level 5 spiritual grass and medicine. Altogether, Wang Xian had expended over 1 million points of dragon energy. He had 20 million points of dragon energy remaining. The million points of dragon energy were well spent. After Dragon's sect had established its footing, it would bring him even more resources and dragon energy. Time to start refining elixir pills. Wang Xian took a deep breath, placing the alchemy furnace before him and the tufts of level 5 spiritual grass and medicine beside him. Beside the level 5 spiritual medicine and grass, there was another strange item. It was white and appeared to be a sanitary pad. There was still blood on it. That's right. That was the shed blood of the skeletal dragon during menstruation. This item had been discovered by Wang Xian by accident when Xiaoyu asked him to throw away the rubbish. When he saw it, he was stunned. After several verifications, he could confirm that there were immense energies within it. As such, Wang Xian kept it away and was prepared to use it for refining elixir pills. It felt a little weird. Nonetheless, he wouldn't be the one consuming it. Refine all elixir pills with the origin source flame. Wang Xian took another deep breath before placing the tufts of spiritual grass and medicine into the alchemy furnace with the blood from the skeletal dragon. A typical alchemist would have to time the exact moment when they placed various spiritual medicines into the alchemy furnace based on the time the spiritual medicine would take to melt. They couldn't make the slightest error or the spiritual grass or medicine would be burnt to ashes. Origin source flame wouldn't have such issues. Even if the spiritual medicine or grass were placed in it for half an hour, the effects would be kept perfectly without any loss. Wang Xian threw all the spiritual grass and medicine in at the same time before adjusting the concentration. He had to concentrate on the distribution of the concentration. Otherwise, he might end up with poisonous pills or useless pills if he made a mistake. Wang Xian's speed in refining was terrifyingly quick. Moreover, the effects of the elixir pills were kept perfectly intact. A set of spiritual medicine and grass could roughly give 4 elixir pills. If Sui Huang were to witness Wang Xian refining elixir pills, he would probably jump up in jealousy. Refining elixir pills was like a walk in the park for Wang Xian. Phew! He had finally succeeded. When the spiritual medicine and grass coalesced into elixir pills, Wang Xian revealed a satisfied smile. 60 pills. Moreover, all of them were level 5 elixir pills. The value of each level 5 elixir pill could reach $7 to $8 billion conservatively. When consumed by an inborn expert, one could gain immense improvements. Such pills were priceless. These are different from Devil's Mark pills. These are Devil's skeletal pills. Perhaps it's because I was using the blood of the skeletal dragon. Wang Xian looked at the Devil's skeletal pills that were emanating a black glow. Moving out, he appeared before the floating island. At that place, 50 Dragonians, together with Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan, were sitting on the training ground and cultivating. Immense black energies had shrouded them completely and each and every one of them emanated incredible vibes with each breath. After incessant cultivating over the new year, all the 50 Dragonians had reached the inborn realm. Any one of them could stir up a storm in the underworld. Chapter 417, Xiao Rant's Clan. Everyone, take a devil's skeletal pill each and swallow it now. Wang Xian looked at his Dragonians with satisfaction. Dragonians were 100% loyal and die-hard fans, and that was the advantage. They would not have the slightest hesitation, even if Wang Xian asked them to commit suicide. In their eyes, he was God. Thank you, Dragon King. When Dragonians opened their eyes, a virtual image of a devil dragon flashed in their eyes as they had one knee down, shouting out respectfully. Wang Xian swung his arm, suspending the devil's skeletal pills in the air before them. After the Dragonians consumed the pills, they closed their eyes immediately and absorbed it. Kacha, kacha. Soon, a bone-cracking sound came from their bodies as a virtual image of a skeletal dragon slowly surfaced above their heads. The skeletal dragon hovered over their heads before slowly entering their bodies. Their bones had undergone terrifying change. On their skin, the faint dragon scales that surfaced turned into bony scales that looked like some daunting armor. Their 5 fingers grew longer, exuding a touch of black radiance. Using the blood of the skeletal dragon for the production of elixir pills seemed to have had a special effect. The devil's arts that Imo Qinglong was cultivating came with dark attributes, while the skeletal dragon was considered to be the mutation of those dark attributes. As a result, it had strengthened their bones, which turned them into something more powerful. 50 Dragonians. Considering those who had just advanced to Inborn realm, they could even match up to Pinnacle Inborn. That's how strong the bloodline is. Wang Xian smiled as he watched those Dragonians with rapid ascension in their strength. With the strength of 50 Dragonians enhanced at the same time, their black energies slowly gathered together, forming a skeletal dragon. As the skeletal dragon crouched above them, the imposing stance could strike fear into anyone, including experts of the Dan realm. That lad escaped. That lad actually ran away. How could he have such domineering strength? This is impossible. It hasn't been long since we last saw him and he has already advanced a half-step to Inborn. That brat was too gifted. No wonder Madam had to take the risk to kill him. He's only 15, and he is already a half-step to Inborn. It's almost a 100% chance for him to advance to Inborn realm or an even higher level. If he grows up, it will be troublesome. I wonder what kind of fortuitous encounter he had to become so powerful, especially with that petrifying sapphire flame. At this moment, 5 people were discussing and standing along a remote road in Rivertown with cold perspiration all over their bodies. There were charred bodies scattered around on the floor, looking unusually scary. Spots of fresh blood were spilled around while the ground had several cracks in it. Apparently, a ferocious battle had broken out here. A 15-year-old half-step to Inborn sounded horrifying. If Madam learned about this, she wouldn't be able to sleep from now on. Several middle-aged men exchanged gazes with each other. Amongst them, 2 were half-step to Inborn, level 9 martial artists. Those lying on the ground were all level 9 martial artists. Ever since the group of people who were chasing that brat had disappeared, Madam sent an even more powerful bunch of people to kill that brat. This time, they learned about the news of that brat from the omniscient group. Hence, they rushed over just to kill him off. At first, they thought it would be an easy job. But none of them expected that he could slaughter 5 level 9 martial artists all by himself. At the same time, he fled from their hands. We must report to Madam immediately. A middle-aged man suppressed the horror within himself and took out a communication device immediately. Xiao Shisan, is everything settled? Soon, a wealthy-looking lady appeared in the video call. She was standing in a training field and was not looking into the camera. Instead, she was gazing at something ahead of her, wearing a smile. Madam, we are in trouble. Xiao Shisan took a deep breath before he lowered his head and answered with a grimace. Her? You let that brat escape again? Eyes turned cold as the wealthy-looking lady stared at Xiao Shisan on the screen. Madam. Through the screen, Xiao Shisan could sense the imposing bearing. His voice was shaking. We tried to stop him halfway, but he killed 5 of our people. What? Someone is protecting that brat? That wealthy-looking lady raised her eyebrows as vexation became caught in between her locked brows. No, not that. He killed 5 of our people alone. He's now a half-step to inborn, a half-step to inborn. What did you say? That wealthy-looking lady shrieked, ruining all her nobility. Half-step to inborn. I don't know what kind of fortuitous encounter he had, but he possesses the strength of half-step to inborn. And, he's got a terrifying flame. Xiao Shisan was shaken as he answered. Such a gifted talent would shine in the sky, causing everything to pale in comparison. Half-step to inborn. A 15-year-old half-step to inborn? Are you sure you're not talking nonsense? The wealthy-looking lady was in total disbelief as she grasped the device, staring into the screen. We're sure. We're 100% sure. That brat has a domineering gift. Xiao Shisan nodded his head with force. Half-step to inborn. A half-step to inborn at age 15. The wealthy-looking lady was stupefied as she looked at her son in the training field before her. Her son was 18, and he had only become a half-step to inborn after he was given a vast amount of resources for his cultivation. Even so, a son who was a half-step to inborn enjoyed a supreme status in the entire sacred clan. The word genius was insufficient to describe him. Even the Laozu of the clan was full of praises for him. He was only 18, and everyone already recognized him as the next successor for the Xiao family. He was, no doubt, the next successor of the sacred clan. Yet, that brat, that bastard had actually advanced to half-step to inborn. No way. Absolutely no way. If anyone finds out that he has such domineering gifts and strength, the elders in the clan will be grooming him with everything they have. Till then, Fanner's status and that hatred from that boy. Radiance flashed in that wealthy-looking lady's eyes as she slowly revealed her craziness. We must stop that brat from growing up. We cannot let him live. You guys will wait there. I'll send an inborn expert over, that wealthy-looking lady commanded Xiao Shisan coldly. Yes, yes. When Xiao Shisan saw the murderous intent in Madame's eyes, fear took over him as he hurriedly nodded his head. After they hung up, the wealthy-looking lady was clenching her fist tightly. At this time, a dashing and handsome juvenile in the training field held his prideful chin up and asked that wealthy-looking lady, Mum, how was it? Given my current strength, I'm sure I can be in the top 10 on the Outstanding Young Heroes chart. Till then, I'll be the youngest hero. That's true. Fanner, you're the most remarkable one. No one at your age can compare to you. You're the brightest moon in the sky. The rest are only insignificant starlight. The wealthy-looking lady had glittering eyes as she looked at her son with a beaming face. Of course. I wonder where Xiao ran, his mother, and his sister fled to. They have been on the run for a year. If I see him again, I'll cripple him with one hand. Huh. Chapter 418, The Youngest Inborn Expert. No matter how insanely gifted you are still going to meet your end here. On a deserted road in Rivertown, Xiao Shisan mumbled to himself after seeing the video call disengage. What a shame. Now that you have offended Madame. A young hero. Xiao Shisan looked at the corpses around him and instructed the few people with him to clean things up. That Madame was the daughter of the family head of a first-class family in Shangjing. That first-class family was among the most elite first-class forces, with close to 10 inborn experts. One could even say that they were one of the strongest existences beneath a sacred sect. At this moment, her status in the family had risen because of his son. That young master had talents that triumphed the entire sacred clan and had been widely regarded as the future successor. He was also the most outstanding disciple that was believed to have the highest chance of attaining the level of their Laozu. In the entire Xiao clan, that Madame also had incredible influence. If she wished to kill a brat, that brat would die no matter how insanely gifted he was. What's the matter? What happened to Xiao Ran? In the afternoon, Wang Xian saw Lu Mingxin, whose eyes had turned red and swollen from crying, in the living room when he entered the villa. His attention shifted to Xiao Ran, who appeared pale and was lying on the sofa. Sun Lingxiu was sitting by his side while administering treatment. Clearly, his injuries weren't light. He was ambushed and forcefully executed the technique Sui Huang taught him. His body suffered huge damages, but this isn't a serious issue. He should recover in 5 to 6 days. Sun Lingxiu turned to Wang Xian and explained. He was ambushed. Wang Xian's eyebrows knitted together. The underworld still wasn't aware that Xiao Ran was his disciple. At the very least, he barely paid any attention to this disciple. Other than giving him the cultivation arts from the fire god denomination, the tranquil blue heavenly flame and some elixir pills, he had basically not played a part in his cultivation path. He didn't know how to teach his disciple. Even his cultivation knowledge was gained from joining Guan Shuqing when Sui Huang was teaching. Nonetheless, he was very satisfied with this disciple of his. He was resilient and willing to endure hardship. Other than his meals, he spent all his time on cultivation. Whenever he saw him, he would just address him as "Master" softly. At the same time, he would always make him tea and bring a cup to him. There's nothing Wang Xian would pick on about this disciple. Who would ambush a teenager for no reason? Moreover, with Xiao Ran's current strength of half-step to inborn, he wouldn't be injured unless he was fighting experts at the same level or higher. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and a flash of killing intent gleamed in them. No matter what, Xiao Ran was his disciple. Although he was just an unofficial disciple, it would still be a slap to his face if his disciple was ambushed by others. They are from our family, the Xiao clan. Lu Mingxin looked at Wang Xian with his red and swollen eyes and walked towards him. Xiao clan. The sacred clan, Xiao clan. Wang Xian was taken aback and sank into deep thought. Xiao clan was one of the 3 main sacred clans and one of the 5 main sacred clans in China. They had strength equivalent to other sacred sections. So the assassination when I first encountered them was sent by a sacred clan? A sacred clan is pursuing and assassinating 2 kids? At that time, Wang Xian hadn't asked about the reasons. Mengxin, why is the Xiao clan pursuing and assassinating you guys? Wang Xian glanced at the unconscious Xiao Ran and placed his hand on him. Streams of Azure Dragon's energy flowed into his body and started healing his injuries. Our aunt is trying to kill us. Our mother isn't the first wife to our father and we have always been living outside the Xiao clan. Subsequently, brother reached martial artist level 3 in just a year. Seeing that brother has strong talents, father brought us back to the sacred clan. However, that aunt has always targeted us. The resources that had been allocated to us were all snatched away by her. Subsequently, our father died in an accident and that aunt's actions got even more brazen. Our mother couldn't stand her taking away our resources and therefore went to reason with the elders in the clan. However, our food was poisoned after she got back. When my mother learned about it, she decided to bring us away from this perilous place. However, we had not expected to be pursued by assassins. Our mother was killed while protecting us. The last time we saw brother Wang Xian, we had already been running for a year. Lu Mingxin clenched her small hands as she spoke furiously. It might not be just because of your mother. Xiao Ran is probably a factor too. Wang Xian thought to himself after hearing Lu Mingxin's explanation. In large families, it would be similar to the royal race in the past. Heirs would resort to unscrupulous acts to increase their chances of succeeding the throne. Xiao Ran's gifts had probably encroached upon the interests of some people. To be able to reach martial artist level 3 without any resources in a year, he must be really gifted. As long as he had sufficient resources, he would definitely still become the most dazzling star even when compared across the sacred clans. The only shame was that his mother was just another woman his father had outside the clan and she wasn't the first wife. The quarrels within your family have nothing to do with me. However, it involves me when my disciple is harmed. Wang Xian gave a cold smirk and looked at the unconscious Xiao Ran on the sofa. Let this incompetent master of yours help you for the very last time. You still have to rely on yourself in the future. Wang Xian had made up his mind. He would be using elixir pills to raise his cultivation realm to the inborn realm before bringing him to the Shao clan and demanding a fair explanation. Head to the sacred clan and demand a fair explanation. Master. At this instant, Shao Ran, who was lying on the sofa, opened his eyes suddenly. He squeezed out a shy smile and struggled to sit up. Wang Xian didn't stop him, patted him on the shoulders and said, "Have a good rest today. I'll increase your strength tomorrow before going back with you to demand a fair explanation." Shao Ran's face turned red from agitation. Tears streamed down uncontrollably as he thanked Wang Xian profusely. "Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master." Wang Xian smiled and caressed his head before turning around and leaving in the direction of the floating island. After all, Shao Ran was still just a 15-year-old kid. His life had been tumultuous and even worse than his and Xiao Yu's in the past. At the very least, Wang Xian and Xiao Yu wouldn't have to worry about their safety. Arriving at the spiritual medicine garden on the floating island, Wang Xian looked around and gathered the spiritual medicine required to refine level 4 elixir pills. After which, he turned to the 2 level 6 spiritual medicines. The green fruit tree and the white valley lotus. The fruits from the spiritual tree, green fruit tree, were level 5 spiritual medicine or the equivalent of level 4 elixir pills. As for the white valley lotus, it could match level 5 elixir pills. That was similar to the devil's skeletal pill, which could greatly increase the strength of even inborn experts. Clearly, devil's skeletal pills weren't suitable for Shao Ran and would only cause side effects. However, he could consume a level 6 spiritual medicine directly. Consuming 4 to 5 level 4 elixir pills and several lotus seeds from the level 6 spiritual medicine, having his conception vessel and governing vessel cleared, together with the body refining effects of the Dragon Ball, Shao Ran could definitely reach the inborn realm. This was an inborn expert raised by exhausting immense resources and wealth. A 15-year-old inborn expert. Even the sacred clan would be completely shocked by him. Wang Xian's lips curved up slightly. Subsequently, he started refining level 4 elixir pills. After the massive refining session over this period, the entire spiritual medicine garden had basically emptied out with only a few tufts of spiritual medicine and grass remaining. He had to start breeding his own or looking for other spiritual medicine and grass. Chapter 419, Another Attack. Ah! As deafening screams came through, the painful cries caused hair to stand on end. Back in the yard in the villa, Shao Ran was sitting on the ground with his legs crossed. Above his head, the body refining flame was burning over his body. Even though the blazing flame was specifically used to refine the body, the pain was simply unbearable. However, Wang Xian remained unwavering at the side. Each time when Shao Ran's physical body could not take it, Wang Xian would inject energy of the Azure Dragon to heal his body. When his skin tore, it would be treated with the energy of the Azure Dragon again. At the same time, level 4 elixir pills were thrown into Shao Ran's mouth as though they cost nothing. The immense energy in the pills was quickly absorbed and refined. Boom! After he had taken all 4 soul enhancement pills, an intense energy began to rise in Shao Ran's body. He lifted his head as he could not help but bellow with a shaken body. "Open your mouth!" Wang Xian shouted at him as he curled his finger and sent 3 White Valley Lotus seeds into his mouth. White Valley Lotus could help to cleanse the physical body, shaping the most perfect inborn physique. Compared to Devil's Skeletal Pill, the spiritual energy provided would be lesser, but it could strengthen the foundation. As the body refining flame from the Inferno Dragon Ball kept pouring down on him like a waterfall, Shao Ran was completely covered by the sticky and thick magma. With the help of level 6 spiritual medicine White Valley Lotus and level 11 body refining flame, nothing would go wrong despite the fact that they took a shortcut. Absorb the energy and adapt to it. Lay a good foundation, said Wang Xian to Shao Ran indifferently as he observed by the side. After half an hour, Wang Xian opened his mouth and took the Inferno Dragon Ball back. Shao Ran, who was glowing in a blue flame, slowly opened his eyes. A tinge of sapphire radiance blinked in his eyes as tranquil blue heavenly flame rose from his body. Daunting destructive energy came from his body. Xiao Ran slowly stood up. Caw caw caw. A bone-cracking sound came from within his body. The tranquil blue heavenly flames slowly converged into his body with flashing bouts of queer aura. It was the domineering and majestic stance of an inborn expert that was emanating from Xiao Ran's body. There was a tinge of thrill in his eyes as he turned to Wang Xian with passion and admiration. Master, I actually advanced to inborn realm. Thank you, Master. As he spoke, Xiao Ran went down on his knees with his eyes reddened. His body was shaking with excitement. Enough, don't be so excited. Put on your clothes. We're going to Shangjing this afternoon. Wang Xian smiled at him. Yes, Master. Xiao Ran blushed as he hurriedly ran outside. Wang Xian shook his head and went back to the villa. He was lying on the sofa, drinking his tea while reading the news on the underworld. The most popular event in the underworld recently was none other than the Outstanding Young Heroes rankings. The underworld would rank the Outstanding Young Heroes biannually. As such, many of the supreme talents would rush over to the venue. If they got ranked, they would receive many resources. If they could rank above the top 3, they would have a chance to receive level 4 to 5 elixir pills, level 5 to 6 spiritual grass, and even powerful weapons. Xiao Yu and Elder Fong had already returned to Thistles and Thorns sect during the past few days. Xiao Yu was getting ready to surprise every young hero in the event. At the same time, she was preparing for Thistles and Thorns sect to upgrade themselves to a first-class force. Wang Xian did not interrupt her enthusiasm. Given Elder Fong and her strength, almost no one in the entire underworld could hurt them. Even if they met a Dan Realm expert, they were able to go up against them once they transformed into a skeletal dragon. After a rest, Xiao Ran put on his training attire and walked over with a sharp sword in his hand. Master! You're ready. Let's go. We'll pick up your sister first. As Wang Xian spoke, he stretched his back and spotted the ancient spiritual sword at the side. With a casual movement, the sword was tossed to Xiao Ran. Your last gift. Wang Xian tossed the inborn spiritual weapon, the ancient spiritual sword, to Xiao Ran as he spoke. They picked up this ancient spiritual sword when they annihilated 9 Lotus sect back at the ancient tomb. It was initially gifted to Xiao Yu. But ever since Xiao Yu had turned into a skeletal dragon, she has no use for this ancient spiritual sword. The inborn spiritual weapon was no better than the bone sword extended out from her hand. As a result, the sword was left lying around in the villa. Thank you, Master. Xiao Ran took the ancient spiritual sword with thrills. He was looking ebullient. Let's go. Wang Xian said to him. Both of them took a cab to the old street. After meeting up with Lu Mingxin and Sun Lingxiu, 4 of them took a cab to the airport. Lu Mingxin was an unofficial disciple of Sun Lingxiu. Since she practiced the art of light, her strength had reached level 8 martial artist. Given her age, it was rather daunting. Where are you flying to? The driver asked them with a smile on his face. To Shangjing. Shangjing. Now it's very crowded to go there since everyone is traveling there for a winter vacation. The driver chuckled as he spoke. When the cab was making a turn, a large vehicle stopped in the middle of the road, causing the driver to slam on the brakes immediately. God damn it. What a son of a bitch. Do you know how to drive? Her. At this time, Wang Xian spotted the martial artists walking out from that car. They were all armed with swords, looking over in their direction with icy gazes. Master, it's them. They were the ones who assaulted me. Xiao Ran was getting aggressive as he pointed to the few middle-aged men and exclaimed loudly. Again. Wang Xian raised his eyebrow and revealed a cold smile. Upon seeing the flustered driver, Wang Xian struck him unconscious with a palm. Let's get down. Wang Xian sniggered as he spoke when he stepped out of the cab. Brat, where do you think you can hide? Xiao Shirshan glared at Xiao Ran coldly as he smirked, revealing a bloodthirsty look. Half-step to inborn. There were 2 old men, fat and skinny ones, standing beside Xiao Shisan. The fat old man squinted his eyes as he observed Xiao Ran in a half-asleep state. Just a half-step to inborn brat, and you want us to strike? It's safer to get rid of such a demon-like existence. Aunt May did the correct thing. We're here to ensure this brat is utterly dead, just in case, said the skinny old man beside the fat old man who had bulging eyes that were big and creepy-looking. People from the Xiao clan? Hee hee, we were about to look for you. Little did I expect you to be here beforehand. Wang Xian swept his gaze across 15 of them, among which, there were 2 inborn experts and 5 half-step to inborn experts. He could not help but display a cold look. Who is he? Asked the fat old man who squinted his eyes. Who cares? Kill them all. The skinny old man stared with his round eyes as he spoke casually. That's true. You guys go on. I want to see what that 15-year-old half-step to inborn can do. The fat old man nodded as he commanded the rest of the surrounding people. Yes. 13 martial artists held their weapons in their hands. Xiao Shisan took a look at his comrades and reminded them, be careful, this brat can release a powerful blue flame. Huh, we've got so many of us here. It will be a piece of cake to kill a half-step to inborn brat. Chapter 420, Don't oppress me just because I'm young, 1. Xiao Ran, kill all of them. Wang Xian contorted his lips upwards and spoke plainly to Xiao Ran who was beside him. Yes, master. Xiao Ran held the hilt of the ancient spiritual sword tightly in his hand as he stared harshly at the 13 people surrounding him. Hatred gleamed strongly in his eyes. It was also this batch of people who had killed his mother and forced them into a life of running desperately. Killing intent flashed in his eyes as he walked resolutely towards them. After being pursued for over a year, Xiao Ran felt no fear and trepidation towards killing. All he felt was the desire to slay all his enemies one day. Today, he was finally going to take the first step towards achieving his goal. Kill him as quickly as possible and get back. The fat old man squinted his eyes as he instructed his men lazily. Hee hee. Who would have expected a brat like you to recover in 2 days? However, we have 2 inborn experts with us today. There's no way for you to escape even if you had wings. Xiao Shisan stared harshly at Xiao Ran as he drew his longsword gradually. I won't run again from today onwards. I'm going to kill every single one of you as revenge for my mother. Xiao Ran didn't draw his sword. He was reserving it for the 2 inborn experts and the rest weren't qualified for him to use it. Hee hee. Die now. Insolent brat. Xiao Shisan and the crowd shouted coldly as they charged toward Xiao Ran with their weapons. I'm no longer the same kid as a year ago. Don't oppress me just because I'm young. Xiao Ran's expression was eerily cold. Looking at the 13 people approaching him, a tinge of blue flames flashed across his eyes. Huh. Insolent brat. Don't assume you can act brazenly just because you have some strength. No matter how gifted you are going to meet your end today. Xiao Shisan and a few other men laughed hysterically. Piercing glow flashed on the surface of their swords as they lunged toward Xiao Ran. TSK. Xiao Ran looked at them. Moving both of his hands, a circle of tranquil blue heavenly flames appeared on his palm. The tranquil blue heavenly flames were swaying and seemed eager to set the air ablaze. Die, he shouted loudly as he swept the tranquil blue heavenly flame towards the 13 people. Be careful. That blue flame is really powerful. Xiao Shisan turned solemn and reminded the group loudly. Heavenly flame. Oh gosh. It's a heavenly flame. In one corner, the fat old man was exhilarated upon seeing the heavenly flame. The skinny old man beside him had his eyes opened widely as he smiled radiantly. Huh. After we kill that kid, the heavenly flame will belong to us. Break. Xiao Shisan and the group slashed down on the tranquil blue heavenly flames that were flying towards them. Die. Seeing them still trying to withstand with their weapons, A cold flash beamed from Xiao Ran's eyes. The current him wasn't the same as 2 days ago. Boom! He waved his hand and the circle of blue flames raged violently the moment they contacted their weapons. To their astonishment, the tranquil blue flames grew to over a meter in size and shrouded towards them. Shit! Xiao Shisan was taken by surprise. The tranquil blue flame was different from previous times. The flames they had seen just a while ago were highly concentrated flames. Arg! Instantly, the 8 level 9 martial artists cried out pitifully. When they saw the blue flames raging on one arm, they immediately tried to put them out by patting it with their other hand. However, they hit nothing as they waved their other hand down. Their arm had been reduced to dust before their astonished eyes. Moreover, the flames were spreading quickly towards their bodies. It was as though they could no longer feel the temperature of the flames as they were reduced to dust like paper. How can this be possible? Xiao Shisan was devastated as he looked at the spreading tranquil blue heavenly flame on his arm. When the flames had landed on the level 9 martial artists previously, the worst it could get was to torch the person. Yet, they were reduced to dust directly this time. He padded towards his arm rapidly. However, to his astonishment, he hit nothing. His arm and his body were disappearing rapidly. His brain didn't register any pain or misery. However, all these things were incomparably frightening. Arg! Pitiful cries reverberated. All 13 people had disappeared creepily. With a single strike, 5 half-step to inborn experts and 8 level 9 martial artists were reduced to dust. Incomparably terrifying. What? The fat and skinny old men who had stayed behind looked on with disbelief. That fat old man was fully alerted now as he shed his laziness from before. His eyes widened and were filled with confusion. It's your turn now. Xiao Ren grabbed the ancient spiritual sword by his waist and said, "Now, I'm going to kill both of you. After which, I'll head to Xiao Clan to demand an explanation." Annihilating 13 experts in a single strike. How can this be? You aren't at the half-step to inborn realm. You have reached the inborn realm. A 15-year-old inborn expert. The jaw of the skinny old man dropped and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He had completely lost his calm demeanor from before. How can this be possible? What kind of chance encounter did you have? 2 days ago, you were still a half-step to inborn expert. Yet, you have reached the inborn realm today and even have a terrifying heavenly flame. The old man turned serious. The heavenly flame was much stronger than ordinary flames and could substantially increase one's strength. Because I have a powerful master. Xiao Ran lifted his head proudly while staring harshly at them. Master? The skinny and old man's attention fell on Wang Xian and the group who had stayed behind through the developments. Kid, don't assume you are a match for us after just reaching the inborn realm, the fat old man remarked coldly. He exchanged glances with the skinny old man and attacked Xiao Ran suddenly before completing his sentence. They were going for the ambush. They weren't ashamed of ambushing a 15-year-old kid. With Xiao Ran possessing the powerful heavenly flame, it was worthwhile for them to be unscrupulous. Ha! Xiao Ran was taken aback slightly. He had not expected the 2 inborn experts to attack suddenly. Therefore, his expression changed slightly as he retreated instantly. Kid, die now. Blue and red light shot out from the eyes of the 2 old men respectively. At the same instant, 4 needle-like hidden weapons shot toward Xiao Ran's forehead and throat. This is bad. Xiao Ran was taken by surprise. He had not expected the other party to resort to hidden weapons after ambushing him. There's no way he could guard against them. Dang! Xiao Ran retreated immediately and rapidly drew out the ancient spiritual sword. Icy flame devil needles aren't something your small longsword could stop. No matter how demon-like your talents are, you are still going to die by our hands. Hee hee. Excitement gleamed in the eyes of the skinny old man. No matter how talented this kid was and how strong he was, his battling experiences were far lacking. Pa. However, the moment Xiao Ran drew the ancient spiritual sword, the face of the skinny old man stiffened instantly. His eyes opened widely as he said, "Inborn spiritual weapon. Oh gosh! You! Who is your master? Who could have afforded to give you an inborn spiritual weapon?" "My master." Xiao Ran revealed a chilling and proud smirk, glowered at them and shouted, "Remember this. My master is Miracle Dr. Wong from Rivertown. Now you guys can die." "What?" The fat and skinny old men were completely stunned. Bitterness gleamed in their eyes and they gritted their teeth. So what if he is Miracle Dr. Wong from Rivertown? Even without the Shao clan, the Liang family could suppress him. Chapter 421, Don't oppress me just because I'm young, too. Kill. The skinny and fat old men exploded with daunting aura when they uttered the word coldly. Xiao Ran was looking stern as he held his long word, staring at them with vigilance to prevent their sneaky attack again. However, what amazed Xiao Ran was both skinny and fat old men spun around and fled suddenly. "Let's go and report to Aunt May about this. This brat is a disciple of Miracle Dr. Wong of Rivertown. On top of that, he possesses the strength of an inborn expert." Both of the old fellows exchanged gazes and spoke with a heavy look. That little bastard not only possesses the strength of an inborn expert, but his master was also the Miracle Dr. Wong of Rivertown. Things got tricky when this little bastard became an inborn expert. Now that he has such formidable backing, that will be huge trouble. In particular, his backing was Miracle Dr. Wong. According to the review given by the Underworld, Miracle Dr. Wong, and those inborn experts he commanded, could go against a quarter of Sacred Sect. A quarter of Sacred Sect sounded quite scary enough. Forget about a quarter of Sacred Sect. If Miracle Dr. Wong called upon 4 to 5 inborn experts, this matter would get even trickier. Xiao Ran was, after all, part of the lineage of Shao clan. He was assassinated because Aunt May had been controlling this using the power of her own family. Currently, no more than 6 or 7 inborn experts from Shao clan would totally side with Aunt May. The rest of the older generations in the clan would definitely side with Xiao Ran if they knew about him. If Miracle Dr. Wong really brought a bunch of experts, sending Xiao Ran back to Sacred Clan as an inborn expert, Aunt May and Xiao Fan would definitely receive a terrifying blow. As such, they must deliver the news to her, so that Aunt May could prepare herself for it. 2 scheming old fogies. Wang Xian went expressionless when he saw the 2 old men launching a sneak attack with secret weapons, now making an escape. With a change of stance, he appeared before them at a crazy speed. "What's the hurry? Both of you must spar with my disciple." Wang Xian sneered as he quirked his lips when he saw the 2 old men running in his direction. What? He's indeed the Miracle Dr. Wong of Rivertown, living up to his name. What scary speed he has. The 2 old men could not help but narrow their eyes as they braked with an awful look. Then, they stared at Wang Xian with vigilance. "You can forget about escaping from me. Don't even think about it. You better spar with my disciple," Wang Xian said plainly to them. Well, Miracle Dr. Wong. Do you know who you are going up against? Don't assume that you're almighty and that you can do whatever you like. You're not qualified to poke your nose into the Sacred Clan's matters." The fat old man stared daggers at Wang Xian and remarked coldly. "It's my disciple's matter, and so it's mine. Sacred Clan. So what?" Wang Xian scorned. "Arrogant. Go and die." At this time, Xiao Ran raged from behind as he had been tricked by the 2 old men time and time again. That embarrassed him in front of his master. "Do it." The 2 old men exchanged glances. Knowing that they could never escape from Wang Xian's hands, they exploded domineering strength and struck at Xiao Ran. Sword of Phantom. Xiao Ran gripped his ancient spiritual sword tightly as the faint luster of tranquil blue heavenly flame was exuded from his body. Soon, the sapphire flame enveloped the entire sword. Sword of Phantom was the swordplay passed down by Sui Huang. It was a compelling swordplay that matched his tranquil blue heavenly flame. Xiao Ran wielded his sword as though dancing with blue phantoms, which was incredibly spooky. Not bad. With hands behind his back, Wang Xian smiled as he commented on Xiao Ran's swordplay with a smiley face. His strength. As soon as the two old men came in contact with Xiao Ran's swordplay, they grimaced. The formidable heavenly flame was annoying enough if it got onto their clothes, because if they were not careful, they would sustain severe injuries from it. Beside the heavenly flame, they also could not handle the sharpness from the mighty inborn spiritual weapon. Fuck you. They did not dare to touch the heavenly flame and inborn spiritual weapon. Any person of the same level as Xiao Ran would find difficulty in defending him. Suppression. It was not the suppression from his cultivation nor his experience, but rather, from his equipment. Heavenly flame and inborn spiritual weapon were extremely precious treasures, and yet, he had both of them. This freaking miracle Dr. Wang is too rich to equip this brat with such formidable weapons. After exchanging dozens of strokes, two old men had a bad feeling surging from the bottom of their hearts. If they continued, they would get themselves killed. If not for the fact that Xiao Ran was lacking experience, they might have already been injured by this brat. They had to flee. But with a more powerful miracle Dr. Wang around, they were unable to make their escape. Despair began to crawl in. They were here to slaughter the brat. They even thought that, given the strength of Xiao Shisan and the rest, the brat would be a dead body as long as they prevented him from escaping. Yet, the situation had been overturned utterly. The master of this brat was preventing them from escaping while that brat was trying to kill them with his own hands. In the face of the spooky swordplay, razor-sharp inborn spiritual weapon, and the daunting heavenly flame, they could only dodge with trepidation. Arg! The longer Xiao Ran fought, the more courageous he became. With the ancient spiritual sword in his hand, he slashed the chest of the fat old man who was unable to dodge in time. Daunting heavenly flame and razor-sharp inborn spiritual weapon cut his abdomen straight away. Blood did not gush out as the body of fat old man stiffened up. Xiao Ran swung his arm and enveloped him in a sapphire flame. Arg! A hopeless and fearful scream came from the fat old man. The skinny old man trembled with fear as desperation filled his round, bulging eyes. Go to hell! Xiao Ran gritted his teeth as his eyes gleamed with hatred. With a twist, he pointed his long sword at the skinny old man and lowered it down. Oh no! The skinny old man was appalled as he quickly dodged. Arg! Another shriek was heard as the skinny old man looked at the long wound on his arm with a sapphire flame burning at a rapid speed. Arg! The skinny old man bit his teeth and pulled the dagger in his hand, severing his own left arm. I'll kill everyone who chased after us personally to avenge my mother. The long sword in Xiao Ran's hand was still gleaming with a daunting devilish-like sapphire flame as he pierced the skinny old man's chest. Run! This time, the skinny old man did not care if Wang Xian was guarding at the side. To survive, he had to escape with a yell. Miracle Dr. Wang, if you dare to stop me, our clan will not let you off. We'll kill all your family members. I advise you not to intervene in the matters of Sacred Clan. Otherwise, the Sacred Clan will be the place to bury you. While he desperately fled, he even let out a shrill threat. Bam! At this time, the skinny old man felt immense energy at his chest. His eyes seemed to be clouded by astonishment as he looked at the young man before him with disbelief. I won't kill you. Go back and inform that mastermind in the Xiao clan that I'll take Xiao Ran back tonight. Don't you bully my disciple because he's young. Chapter 422, Don't oppress me just because I'm young, 3. You have crippled me. Feeling his elixir field being completely shattered, the skinny old man widened his eyes and glowered at Wang Xian. His round eyes were bloodshot and filled with hatred and anger. Wang Xian looked mockingly at him with strong contempt as he remarked, so what if I did? I'm leaving you alive for now. Go back and inform them we will be coming for them. Bam! As Wang Xian completed his words, he pushed the skinny old man lightly. The skinny old man staggered and fell to the ground, his eyes still fixed on Wang Xian. Not only had he lost an arm, but he was also crippled. For him, this was worse than death. Cough, cough. Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown, as long as you dare to step into Shangjing, I'll let you experience what is worse than death. I'll make you beg me to grant you a quick death. The skinny old man was like a devil that wasn't fearful of death as he glowered at Wang Xian and roared. "Ha, just go. I would like to see how you are going to make me experience something worse than death. Go. Get lost. Tell your family and the one behind it that I'll be coming for them with my disciple." Wang Xian laughed loudly and walked towards the private hire car nonchalantly. "Master, aren't we going to kill him? If we let him go, he will alarm the rest." Xiaoran walked over, gritted his teeth and spoke as he stared at the skinny old man on the floor with deep hatred. "It will be fine. Just let him go back and inform the rest." Wang Xian's eyes turned chilling. How dare they threaten him? He had initially prepared to bring Xiao Ran directly into the Xiao clan to question them and demand an explanation. However, he was not going to wait for them to give him an explanation anymore. He was going to get one out of them himself. He took out his phone and smirked. The Dragonians had now reached the Inborn realm. Moreover, he was also preparing to establish the Dragon sect as a sacred sect. In that case, he would allow the Dragonians to show themselves before the public eyes. The first stop would be to face the sacred clan, Xiao clan directly. Strong desires to fight emanated from Wang Xian. He dialed Mo Qinglong's number on his mobile phone. "Young master. Gather everyone in the Dragon sect and come to the airport immediately. We will be going to Shangjing," said Wang Xian plainly. "Yes, young master." Mo Qinglong paused for a moment before nodding his head solemnly. "Master, I'm sorry to have disappointed you just now." At this moment, Xiaoran lowered his head and spoke apologetically. "Your performance was still acceptable. Get yourself ready mentally." Wang Xian patted him on his shoulders and got into the rented car. Sun Lingxiu and Lu Mingxin followed him and boarded the car. "Brother, you are so incredible." Lu Mingxin looked at Xiaoran and complimented him with a blushing face. "Master will be bringing us to take revenge today." Xiaoran held onto his sister's hand. His heart was filled with agitation and anticipation currently. "Driver, please continue." Wang Xian patted the body of the driver, injected a stream of azure dragon energy and woke him up. "Ha! What happened to me?" The driver lifted his head, still feeling a little confused as he stared at Wang Xian. "I don't know. You lost consciousness suddenly and I have been trying to wake you up for a long time. Are you all right?" Wang Xian asked heartily. What's happening?" The driver patted his head and felt that his body was in better condition than before. He shook his head and said, "I'm fine and feeling pretty good. Let me send you guys to the airport now." The driver smiled and turned towards the large car parked horizontally before him. He continued his complaints. "Damn it. The driver is really inconsiderate to leave the car behind. There's a guy lying there. Is there an accident?" "It's fine. That's just a beggar. We went down to take a look previously." Wang Xian smiled and answered plainly. The group of people who had fought with Xiao Ran had been reduced to dust. There weren't any trails left behind. Therefore, the driver didn't suspect anything as he continued driving his car towards the airport. "Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown. I'll definitely let you have an experience worse than death. Just you wait." Behind the car, the skinny old man who was on the floor grumbled as he struggled to get up. His eyes were bloodshot and looked wretched like a man-eating devil. The only thing that was supporting his will to live was to kill Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown and stabbing him with 1,000 knives. "Young master, everyone in the Dragon sect is here." When Wang Xian arrived at the airport 30 minutes later, Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan walked up to him. Behind them, 48 Dragonians wore identical black attire with an image of a devil dragon. This attracted curious eyes from the surrounding crowd at the airport. Go and get the tickets. Wang Xian looked across the crowd of Dragonians and revealed a satisfied expression. Yes, young master. Soon, the plane took off for Shangjing. At the same time, a private helicopter was moving towards Shangjing. On the helicopter, a wretched-looking old man lay. He had closed his bloodshot eyes and was contacting Aunt May and the decision-makers of the Liang family, telling them to wait for him at Shangjing. He didn't tell them the details yet. The plane flew expeditiously towards Shangjing and so did the helicopter. As the helicopter had taken off first, it landed on a private airport while the plane was just halfway through the journey. This was an exceptionally huge manor. The manor was beside a lake and was incomparably beautiful. At this moment, a wealthy lady and an old man stood up immediately upon seeing the helicopter land. To their astonishment, they saw the skinny old man staggering out of it with a missing arm. They immediately went forward to help him. Uncle Gu. Old Gu, what happened to you? The wealthy woman and old man hurried over and were shocked to see the state of the skinny old man. I got crippled. Completely crippled. The fat old man was killed. The skinny old man was hideous. He looked at the wealthy woman and old man as he said, "We encountered some troubles. That little brat has reached the inborn realm. Moreover, his master is Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown. I was crippled by Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown. They are now on their way here to Shangjing and will be heading to Shao Clan." What? What did you say? Just as the skinny old man completed his sentence, the wealthy woman's eyes popped wide open as she stared in disbelief at the skinny old man. The old man beside her was also shocked. His body was shivering as he attempted to verify, "Old Gu, are you sure about this? How can this be fake? Otherwise, I wouldn't have been crippled." The skinny old man grimaced and continued, "It's Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown. It's all because of him that the little brat has grown to become so powerful. We definitely have to stab 1,000 knives into him before killing him." Uncle Gu. You are saying that little Mutt has reached the inborn realm? How can this be possible? It can't be. The wealthy lady shook her head in disbelief. It was clear that she was flustered. Inborn realm. That little Mutt had reached the inborn realm and was even stronger than her son. She couldn't believe it. That little Mutt was just 15 years old. Chapter 423, Arrival of the Dragon, 1. She knew exactly what it meant to advance to inborn realm at the age of 15. All the more, she knew what would happen to this 15-year-old inborn expert if he was in Shao Clan. At present, her son was a half-step to inborn expert at age 18, and he was already receiving the attention of the entire clan. He was almost selected to be the next clan leader of Shao Clan. He was receiving personal attention and guidance from Laozu. The entire sacred clan was respectful to a woman like her while her son also received firm support from many elders. Her son's talent had already received so much attention, what would happen if it was a 15-year-old inborn expert? She was almost certain that the entire Shao clan would be shaken, and most probably, Shao Ran would be tagging behind Laozu in the future. All of these were valid possibilities. As an inborn expert at the age of 15, it was too frightening. Not only would it shake the entire underworld, but the whole world would also be shocked. His potential was unlimited as he almost had an 80% chance to advance to Laozu realm. The fact was simply too scary. Besides, when that mole returned to Shao clan, he would definitely expose the truth that she had ordered the assassination to kill the three of them, including his mother. By then, the choice between an inborn expert or half-step to inborn was clear to Shao clan. After all, she would receive a sanction from the clan, and her son would also be implicated. That struck terror into her. They'll be reaching Shao clan tonight. We must not let them through. The malevolent expression slowly disappeared from that skinny old man's face. Now, we need to exterminate Miracle Dr. Wang and that mole. Otherwise, the consequences. They must be killed. An old man darkened his expression as he bellowed in a low voice with a twisted expression. Yes, we must kill them. Kill them all. The wealthy-looking lady panicked as she said, if they entered Shao clan, Fanner would be finished. So would I. Calm down. Now we need to think of ways to kill both of them. The old man screamed at the wealthy-looking lady with a sullen look. Dad, we can just kill them on their way. Just do it on their way and stop them from entering Shao clan. The wealthy-looking lady nodded and suggested this to her father. Intercept and kill them. Radiance flashed in the old man's eyes as he squinted slightly. Call upon all the inborn experts from the family here and intercept Miracle Dr. Wang and that mole. Kill them off before they reach their destination. Family head, I'm afraid Liang family's strength is not enough to kill that lad, the skinny old man remarked slowly with icy cold gazes. Her. The old man stared hard at the skinny old man. We have 6 inborns in Shangjing. Can't we even kill 2 people? Family head, that miracle Dr. Wang of Rivertown is really domineering. I guess he has already advanced a half-step to Dan realm. That mole possesses heavenly flame and an inborn spiritual weapon. 6 inborns are definitely not enough. Not even with another 2 additions. SSS. The old man drew cold breath as soon as he heard the skinny old man. The wealthy-looking lady was stunned for a moment as panic flashed in her eyes. Then what should we do? Think of a way. A foolproof plan. The skinny old man bit his teeth with traces of blood were seen on his gums. That made him look like a devil. The wealthy-looking lady had a mixed expression. Her fair complexion and beauty seemed ferocious when her eyes were gleaming. I have an idea. She bit her teeth as though she had made a grave decision. What is it? That old man quickly turned to his daughter and asked in a deep voice. Today's Fanner's 18th birthday. We're having a huge celebration in Shao clan. If they dare to turn up later on, I'll get an elder from Shao clan who is on good terms with us to stop them. Once conflict arises, we'll strike without giving them the chance to speak. Said the wealthy-looking lady with malevolence. This is a little risky, but... His eyes glittered as the old man nodded his head slowly. At that time, I'll get all the experts from Liang family. Once they enter, we'll just attack them, so they have no chance to speak. By then, the experts from Shao clan will strike too. When Shao clan struck, it would be an easy job to exterminate Miracle Dr. Wang. Even though both of them were imba, they would be suppressed. Shao Mei, I'll leave this to you. You must make it work. Otherwise, you'll implicate the entire Liang family, the old man continued with consternation. Don't worry, Dad. I'll take care of this. The wealthy-looking lady squinted her eyes and revealed a faint smile like any vicious person. Shao clan is located in Shao Mountain, one of the 3 sacred mountains in Shangjing. When the plane landed in Shangjing, Wang Xian brought Shao Ran and the rest out of the airport. They looked in the direction of Shao clan, with Imo Qinglong and the remaining Dragonians behind them. It's 5 now. Let's have our dinner and go over there at night. Darkness marks the best time for revenge, said Wang Xian to Shao Ran with a beaming face. Anything you say, master. Shao Ran nodded with anxiety at this moment. They had not stepped into this city for more than a year, which also meant they had been on the run for the same amount of time. He did not feel the slightest warmth in this place, only coldness. They found a place and had dinner. Subsequently, they headed for the sacred mountain, where Shao clan was located. Shao clan was one of the 3 sacred clans, including Sui clan in Shangjing. Hence, the territory they occupied was on par with Sui clan. Unlike the Sihiyuan at the 2nd Ring Road, Shao clan was located on the 4th Ring Road. Shao clan's residence was a huge mansion that used to be a royal residence in ancient times. The entire mansion was huge, with hundreds of rooms. Behind the mansion sat a mountain, the sacred mountain of Shao clan. The sun set relatively early during winter. It was about 6, and the sky was in total darkness. However, it was lively in the welcome banquet block of Zhao's mansion. Lanterns were hung around the vintage buildings. As they lit up the entire Zhao clan, it was as though it was a time travel back to ancient times. Happy birthday, Zhao Fan! Happy birthday, Zhao Fan! You're finally an adult today. Haha, here. Our genius in Zhao clan. Take a look at the present that I brought you. More than 300 guests were gathered in the welcome banquet block at this moment. All of them were the core disciples of Zhao clan and Liang family. A juvenile in blue-colored Zhao's uniform was standing in welcome banquet block with a proud-looking face as he accepted the presents from his elders. 6 inborn experts from Zhao clan and 6 inborn experts from Liang family were all celebrating a birthday for him. Who else could achieve such an honor? Immense confidence surged within Zhao Fan. Zhao's mansion. We're here. At this time, 4 figures showed up at the entrance. But more figures were hiding in the dark, waiting for their commands. Chapter 424, Arrival of the Dragon, 2. What a majestic-looking sacred clan. Sui Huang lives in a huge Sihiyuan while this is an ancient-looking mansion for the nobles, exclaimed Wang Xian as his eyes were fixed on the exceptionally huge mansion before him. There were over 10 entrances to the mansion and they were standing before the main eastern gate. 2 young men stood on the sides of the gate while observing the surroundings attentively. When they saw Wang Xian and Xiao Ran, they exchanged glances. Who are you guys? One of the young men squinted his eyes and shouted at Wang Xian. 7th generation of Zhao clan, Xiao Ran. I have not returned since a year ago. Today, I'm back. Xiao Ran stepped forward and looked at the incomparably huge mansion before him with complicated feelings. Once, this was a place where his mother, sister and he had always looked forward to living. However, it was hell for them after they got in. Not that he was finally back, he was coming for revenge and to announce to the entire Zhao clan that he, Xiao Ran, was back. He was still a teenager but was no longer the weak teenager who anyone could bully. He looked respectfully towards his master before turning to the 2 young men. Oh? Xiao Ran. I have some impression of you. What are you here for? The eyes of one of the young men lit up as he asked with a faint smile. I'm here to seek grievances for myself. Please bring us to where the elders of the clan are. Xiao Ran said solemnly to the 2 young men. Looking for the elders? Today's the 18th birthday of young Master Zhao Fan and most of the elders are there currently. Let us bring you over. The 2 young men smiled and answered Xiao Ran. All right. Xiao Ran nodded his head emotionlessly and looked towards Wang Xian. Wang Xian smiled in response and nodded his head before following the 2 young men in. Master, something isn't right. Xiao Ran leaned towards Wang Xian and commented solemnly. We will deal with it when the time comes. Let's see what tricks they are up to, replied Wang Xian plainly. He had let the skinny old man off to tip off the clan. As such, this matter wouldn't be as simple as it might seem. Moreover, the 2 young men that led them in were too casual. Everything was so smooth that it felt a little strange. Even the young Xiao Ran found it to be weird. However, Wang Xian wasn't too concerned. In the face of absolute strength, so what if they were a sacred clan? The mansion of the Zhao clan was huge. After bypassing a pavilion and crossing a river, they arrived at a place with raucous noises. A vintage-looking building appeared before them and peals of joyous laughter reverberated constantly from the building. They are right inside. The 2 young men turned around, faced Wang Xian's and his group and revealed eerie smiles. Wang Xian nodded his head calmly. Hee. Just as they were about to approach the welcome banquet block, the 2 young men laughed out creepily. Don't kill us. Don't kill us. Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown, please don't kill us. What? Our Zhao clan has offended you and you are here to annihilate the clan. You. How arrogant. You must be courting death to be thinking of annihilating our Zhao clan. How dare you kill the disciples of the Shao clan? Our Shao clan will never let you off. The elders in our clan will slay you. Don't assume you are the strongest in the world just because you top the outstanding young heroes chart. Help! Suddenly, the two young men turned their bodies around, staring at Wang Xian and the group while smiling sheepishly at them. At the same time, they were screaming for help in a horrified tone. The voices of the two men were exceptionally loud and soon reverberated across the radius of 1,000 meters. Their voices even overwhelmed the laughter of the crowd in the welcome banquet block. Voices in the welcome banquet block died down after the screams of the two young men erupted. Soon after, several figures emerged from the building rapidly. Who dares to barge into our Shao clan? Who's the one interrupting my son's birthday celebration? You must be too eager to die. Who's Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown? He dares to kill the people of our Shao clan. Angry roars erupted from several places. The first few to arrive at the scene were the experts from the Liang family. At the front of the pack, there was a wealthy-looking woman, an old man and the skinny old man who had his arms severed and cultivation crippled. At this juncture, the three of them were glowering at Wang Xian while wearing cunning smiles. Arg! At this moment, it was as if the two young men were possessed by the greatest actors on earth. They turned around and ran towards the experts from the Liang family while pretending to be horrified. They barged into our Shao clan and even declared that he will be annihilating us. This is interesting. Wang Xian looked at the two pretentious young men with deep contempt. He finally realized the plot of the other party. They were trying to label Wang Xian's group with crimes they didn't commit so they could kill them with reasons. Both of you really deserve death. Wang Xian stared harshly at the two young men trying to escape. As he waved his hand, two sharp spikes made of metal dragon energy shot towards the two young men. The wealthy-looking lady, old man, and the skinny old man were shocked to see Wang Xian attacking. Their smiles deepened and they were even more excited to see what Wang Xian had done. They didn't attempt to intercept Wang Xian's attacks at all. Arg! Two pitiful cries reverberated across the hall. The two young men, who were acting, instantly felt the immense pain cruising through them from their backs. Their faces had turned as white as chalk. When they turned their heads around, they saw Wang Xian looking at them with ridicule. The two young men held onto their chests that were pierced through as they looked in the direction of the wealthy-looking lady. They were confused and desperately hoped she would extend aid to them. However, the wealthy-looking woman simply grinned wickedly while staring at them. Their eyes widened and were soon overwhelmed with desperation. Soon, they fell to the ground with remorse, confusion, and helplessness. Great! He's indeed Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown. How brazen of him to kill the people of the sacred clan on their home ground. The old man was ecstatic. This had just been a plot initially. However, it had now become the reality and things would get much easier from here onwards. After killing the people from the sacred clan, the feud could no longer be resolved. Han Qing. Han Gu. At this moment, the elders of the Shao clan had arrived and happened to witness Wang Xian striking and killing the two disciples of the Shao clan. One of the elders growled furiously. How dare you kill the disciples of our Shao clan? You deserve death for barging into our Shao clan. The elder glowered at Wang Xian and the group with strong killing intent. Should we strike? When the wealthy-looking lady witnessed the developments, she asked her father who was standing beside her. Wait a minute. This Miracle Dr. Wang is really arrogant. Let's take a step back and see how things develop. This matter isn't as complicated as we thought. Miracle Dr. Wang from Rivertown is just a man with brawn and no brain. The old man squinted his eyes and replied with a faint smile. The matter had turned out completely different from their expectations. They had concluded that Wang Xian would be looking for the elders of the Shao clan directly, showing them Shao Rant's talents and demanding a fair explanation from them. It would now seem like the arrogant Miracle Dr. Wang wasn't prepared to do those things. Instead, he adopted a brazen attitude towards the Shao clan and even killed the disciples from the Shao clan. As such, they wouldn't have to rush into taking actions against a guy who didn't know what was best for him. Deserves death? Some people in the Shao clan are indeed deserving of death. Today, I have brought my disciple here to seek revenge. Wang Xian responded calmly. They would have never understood that the actions of the strong weren't something they could predict with certainty. Chapter 425, Suppression, 1. Miracle Dr. Wang of Rivertown, you're too arrogant. How dare you kill the disciples of Shao clan? You might be a supreme talent or number 1 on the outstanding young heroes chart, but you won't leave the Shao clan today. An elder of the Shao clan took 2 steps forward as he stared at the 2 disciples who were lying dead on the floor. Murderous intent filled his eyes. What a brazen fellow! How dare you barge in and take down our people? Miracle Dr. Wang, are you sick of living after remaining alive, even after killing an elder of Sacred Followers Guild? Another elder stalked to one side. On the other hand, several elders of the Shao clan glowered at Wang Xian as they spread themselves around, forming a semicircle to lock them down with an imposing aura. Do you think 4 of you can just barge into a sacred clan as you like? Today, I'll make you pay for killing 2 of our disciples. Those who barge into sacred clan shall die. The elder from Liang family and the remaining 5 inborn experts stood beside those elders of Shao clan. All of them sneered as they stared daggers at the quartet. Ha, sacred clan Shao clan? We're here for revenge. Do you think you guys can stop us? Wang Xian threw them a taunting look as he swept his gaze across everyone. Eventually, he stopped at the wealthy-looking lady and the people from Liang family. With a grin, he said, by getting us to provoke Shao clan, do you think they can kill us all? Today, I'll return justice to my disciple with blood. Everyone, including the Shao clan and you people, is bound to die. No one shall live. Wang Xian bellowed as he placed his hand on Shao Rant's shoulder. Your enemies. You must kill them one by one personally. Yes, master. Fine. What an insolent lad to massacre the Shao clan. We, the Shao clan, do not share any grudge against you. Even if there is, so what? Just then, elders flitted out from the Zhao's mansion. Their movements seemed like an invincible expert in the movies, drawing afterimages under the moonlight. 5 elders were led by an old lady who had a staff in her hand. Yunyan! Yunyan! One by one, the elders from Shao clan greeted the old lady respectfully. Great-grandmother. Shao Fan, who was beside the wealthy-looking lady, greeted the old lady happily. Hee, today's Shao Fan's birthday. Without knowing, you're already 18. Well. The old lady beamed at Shao Fan with kindness in her eyes. Subsequently, she spun around. Today's the birthday of my great-grandson. How dare you barge into Shao clan, going around killing people, and even threatening to take revenge on us? If so, I'll use your blood to cleanse all the bad luck. As the old lady spoke, the warm smile on her face was filled with coldness when she stared at the quartet. Shao Ran clenched his fist tightly as he gazed at that old lady. She was the great-grandmother of Shao Fan. That would mean the same to him. He shared the same blood, but the treatments were completely different. Even his great-grandmother could not recognize him. How depressing this was. He did not feel the slightest affection for Shao clan. What a way to put it. Even if there is, so what? Wang Xian glowered at the old lady. You'll find out what it would be soon. With a cold expression, Wang Xian looked across all the inborn experts and said with a mean look, are these all the inborn experts you have? If there are more, bring them over. You arrogant brat. Do you think that if you're the number 1 on the outstanding young heroes chart, you can be invincible? We have 16 inborn experts here who can slaughter you like livestock. The old man from Liang family broke out laughing when he saw what Wang Xian was doing. Idiot. A completely idiotic fellow. The skinny old man whose arm was missing threw Wang Xian a death stare as he revealed a hideous smile. He wanted to witness this fellow getting killed. I'll play with you and teach you how it feels to be in despair. Wang Xian looked at them as they were pressuring them with numbers. If that is the case, he would do the same thing. Whoosh! As his words trailed off, the Dragonians who were in Black Devil Dragon attire suddenly emerged on the roofs not far away. With a swift movement, they flitted in their direction at an amazing speed. 25 Dragonians. Wang Xian did not call for all the Dragonians, but he would still want to see how Shao Clan landed into desperation. 25 Dragonians kept their silence, exhibiting an imposing stance around them. Caw caw caw. Cracks were formed on the ground when they landed on it. The Dragonians behind Wang Xian were glaring at all the people from Shao Clan with murderous eyes. 16 inborn experts. I think it's insufficient. Wang Xian grinned at the old man of Liang family and spoke indifferently. SSS. The old man, wealthy-looking lady, and the skinny old man were stunned. It had only taken a second for those Dragonians to make their appearance. When they saw the 25 inborn experts in Devil Dragon attire, a shocking look crept onto their faces. Even the people from Shao Clan could not help but narrow their eyes when they saw the sudden appearance of Dragonians. Their hearts sank with horror in their eyes. 25 inborn experts. You actually have 25 inborn experts? Looks like you guys are prepared. The old lady held the staff tightly in her hands as she glared at the Dragonians behind Wang Xian. 25 inborn experts. Which force are you guys from? Asked an elder from Shao Clan, who was appalled to see the Dragonians behind Wang Xian. 25 inborn experts. They are really strong. What's going on? How did Miracle Dr. Wang manage to call upon so many experts? The surrounding disciples of Shao Clan were aghast when they saw the domineering experts. Initially, they'd come here to watch a show. Go and kill all your enemies with your own hands, said Wang Xian to Shao Ran, ignoring all the shocking experts from Shao Clan and Liang family. Yes, master. Shao Ran grabbed the long sword in his hand and stalked forward. Whoever dares to make a move will be killed on the spot. Wang Xian stared at everyone from Shao Clan and warned them with an icy face. How did this? Why are there so many experts? Why? The wealthy-looking lady was in disbelief as Shao Ran strode forward, staring at her with murderous intent in his eyes. A film of cold sweat covered the forehead of the old man beside her. He had never expected them to have such a terrifying force. The first one that I'm going to kill is Aunt May. Come here. Shao Ran lifted his chin with eyes that were filled with killing intent. He stared at her. You killed my mum and chased us for more than a year just to kill us. If it were not for my master, we would be dead. Today, I'll avenge my mom. Asshole, you want to kill my mum? You're just seeking your own doom. Shao Fan was looking ruthless when he saw Shao Ran trying to kill his mother. He snatched a sword from one of the disciples beside him and pointed it at Shao Ran.